man wanted to find out why his older brother had disappeared, so he snuck into the game company Destiny Group to gather clues. After confirming that his brother's disappearance was connected to a game called Phantom Moon, he entered the game on launch day and brought his younger brother Ah Fei in with him to investigate. But the moment he got into the game, he told Ah Fei to go find a party and level up first. Meanwhile, he opened the Sprite Assistant and redeemed several special items. Strangely enough, even the Sprite Assistant could not identify any of them. It turned out these were cheats he had made while infiltrating the company, then buried deep in the game's lowest level code where the system could not detect them at all. The first was a growth-type piece of equipment, the Omniscient Bracelet, which upgraded once every 10 levels. At the same time, it also granted one class-exclusive skill. The second was the Random Achievement Codex. Complete random tasks and get random rewards. But its hidden attributes were generated by artificial intelligence, so even he had no idea what it would turn into. The most important one, though, was the third item, Inferno, Asura's invitation. Every clue behind his older brother's disappearance pointed straight to that invitation. It was the item tied to the Asura class advancement. But at the exact moment he confirmed the class change, Lu Li's heart suddenly started racing out of control. Then an unbearable wave of pain slammed into him. Right after that, 4 skeletons suddenly appeared around him. One of them immediately pulled out a crimson dagger and drove it straight through Lu Li's chest. In that instant, Lu Li felt pain so real that it did not feel like a game at all. Even worse, the system glitched at that exact moment and could not start properly. Then Lu Li's vision was swallowed by total darkness. He could not even log out of the game anymore. When Lu Li opened his eyes again, he discovered that he had turned into a skeleton warrior instead of an Asura. As Lu Li got up and looked around, he noticed a summoner in the distance muttering, "Awaken, my servant." Lu Li walked over and greeted him. "Hello, where is this place?" The summoner froze in shock. "It can talk? Did I just summon a rare-grade skeleton guard?" Since the summoner did not answer, Lu Li assumed the guy was mute and turned to leave, but the summoner looked completely baffled. Why is this thing not kneeling before its master? Then his eyes turned vicious. "Looks like I need to make it suffer a little." With that, he hurled out a hell chain straight at Lu Li. In an instant, the utterly confused Lu Li was bound tight. "What is this supposed to be?" The summoner let out a cold laugh. "What? I'm teaching you how to be a proper servant." Lu Li was instantly speechless. He was only level 1. How was he supposed to play this? Right then, Lu Li was suddenly blasted away by a terrifying force. He slammed into a cross and only stopped after crashing hard into it. When he finally came to his senses, the sight in front of him left him completely stunned. A monster towering into the sky had just crushed that summoner to death with a single step. Lu Li was dumbfounded. Isn't this supposed to be the newbie village? He immediately summoned the Sprite Assistant and asked where the hell this place really was. It turned out this was the most dangerous boss spawning ground in all of Phantom Moon. Lu Li froze for a second. Then where's my mission supposed to be? The assistant hurried to check and quickly found that the actual mission point was 100 kilometers away. After that, Lu Li climbed over mountains swarming with flying beasts. Then he swam across an ocean crawling with monsters. By the time he finally reached the mission area, he was completely exhausted. But when he got there, he found a long line already stretching out at the city entrance. That was when Lu Li noticed another entrance nearby with barely anyone there, but the assistant immediately warned him. That is not the designated route. Lu Li ignored the warning and ran straight over anyway. One of the guards shouted on the spot, "What do you think you're doing?" Lu Li quickly replied, "Guard bro, I've got something urgent. Can you let me in first?" The guard waved his hand. "Fine. Everyone has urgent business sometimes. Go on in." Lu Li thanked him and walked right through. One of the other guards laughed. "Boss, this guy actually thanked you." A country bumpkin like that? I'm going in later just to see how miserable his death looks." But after Lu Li entered through the no-line entrance, he realized he had walked straight into the center of an arena, and the host was already roasting him from the stage. Where did this level 1 idiot even come from? He seriously thinks he can join the ring match? Then again, this round uses equal level combat, so maybe the kid actually has a tiny shot. Right after that, every contestant's level was forcibly adjusted to level 10. At that moment, Lu Li finally regretted not lining up the normal way. But now that he was already here, he had no choice but to grit his teeth and pick the assassin class. The host then kept going, saying that anyone who performed well today might be taken in as a disciple by one of the mentors present. One of them was Zhuang Huaisui, the North Peak Hall Master of Blood Moon City, whose combat power was off the charts. The other was Wu Yu, the stunning East Peak Hall Master, and Wu Yu's only disciple was Han Yixiao, the undefeated prodigy. Lu Li was instantly shaken. He's my brother's master? Then he definitely knows what happened to him. I have to find a way to get close to him. Soon after, The 4 matches began at the same time. It did not take long before winners started emerging one after another. And to everyone's surprise, Luli actually beat his own opponent too. But his next opponent was Dual Blade Fiend Gare. Gare looked at Luli and told him to surrender on the spot. Weaklings aren't even worth making me draw my blades. Luli was speechless. If you want to fight, then fight. Why talk so much trash? With that, he walked straight toward Gare. Gare sneered. Looks like you really won't give up until you're staring death in the face. The next second, he swung out a cross slash right at Luli, but Luli dodged it with ease. Gare let out a scornful laugh. Just dumb luck. Then he followed up with another sweeping strike, and Luli still slipped past it without much trouble. Even the host looked stunned at that point. How is this level 1 rookie pulling that off? The truth was, Luli had already calculated Gare's attack range down to the smallest detail. On top of that, the skill had a half-second startup, so dodging it was not actually that hard. And since he worked at the game company, he knew the skill sets of every class inside out, which meant he could even predict Gare's next move. 100%. It would be Cleaving Slash. Once that skill was used, there would be a brief moment of rigidity where Gare could not move at all. And that would be Luli's perfect window to counterattack. Sure enough, Gare leaped up and brought his blade down. In that instant, Luli dodged perfectly and immediately launched Comet Strike. The hit landed cleanly on Gare while he was stuck in that rigid state. A second later, Gare crashed to the ground with disbelief written all over his face. The host slapped his thigh and shouted, "This rookie's definitely a wolf in sheep's clothing." And at that moment, the 2 big shots in the stands finally started taking an interest in Luli. Meanwhile, over on the other side, the match between Blood Battle Lion and the Zombie Swordsman was also reaching its end. In the end, Lion crushed the fight with overwhelming strength. Luli immediately noticed that Lion's stats were clearly way above what someone of the same level should have had. Right then, Lion turned around and shot Luli a mocking look. "Keep your neck clean and wait for me." Luli knew full well that his odds of winning were basically non-existent, but if he wanted to get close to his brother's master, then he had to win no matter what. So he slowly stepped toward the center of the arena. Lion was still as arrogant as ever. "Ignorant rookie, prepare to die." Luli just smiled. "You talk this much, why not go become a storyteller?" The moment he finished speaking, he flashed forward and took the initiative to attack Lion, but Lion still dodged the sneak attack from behind with ease. And at that moment, Luli realized Lion was even stronger than he had expected. That was when Lion finally noticed a cut had appeared on his face. In the very next second, he activated Blood Battle, boosting all his stats by 20%. Then he instantly flashed right in front of Luli. Luli was blasted back several meters, and his body immediately lost balance. But Lion had no intention of giving him even a second to breathe. He charged again with explosive Savage Pounce. And right then, Luli suddenly smiled. "That's the move I was waiting for. That half-second startup is your opening." The moment he finished speaking, he triggered Backstab, and his figure blurred on the spot. In the next instant, Luli appeared right behind Lion out of nowhere. But just when Luli thought he was about to land the hit, Lion grinned too. Schemes mean nothing in front of absolute power. With that, he unleashed the full area attack, Lion's Roar. In an instant, Luli's body was locked in place, and he could not move at all. Even the host exploded with excitement. That's the Lion Clan's exclusive skill. It can immobilize anyone within 5 meters for 1.5 seconds. At that moment, Lion spun around violently. "Die, trash!" Then he slammed a lethal palm strike straight at Luli, but at the final moment, Luli barely avoided the fatal blow. The price, however, was losing an arm on the spot. On top of that, one of his legs snapped under the impact as well. Lion then walked forward and looked down at him. "You still managed to dodge? Doesn't matter. This ends here." But instead of panicking, Luli let out a bizarre smile. "The stage is set. Time for the fish to bite." Lion stared at the one-armed, crippled Luli with pure contempt. "So, decided how you want to die yet?" But the instant Lion stepped down on Luli's severed arm, Luli's eyes suddenly flashed crimson. "Now!" In the very next second, he flung his dagger straight at Lion. At the same time, the severed arm lying on the ground suddenly began to tremble violently, as if it were about to come back to life. Lion noticed none of it. He just kept standing there and running his mouth. Yeah. Desperate struggling is what makes this fun." Luli did not waste another word and activated Backstab again. In the next instant, 2 shadows lunged at Lion at the same time. Then Lion took a vicious hit straight to the back. A mouthful of blood burst right out of him, and his whole body crashed heavily onto the ground. Even the 2 big shots in the stands changed expressions at the same time. The entire arena fell into dead silence. Even the host started stammering. That turnaround came way too fast. At that moment, Rampage Turtle shouted at the top of his lungs. That reversal was insane. From the very start, This rookie fighter had been pretending to be weak. His whole goal was to lure Lion into getting cocky and exposing an opening. And the craziest part was that even the broken arm and leg were done on purpose by him. That was because one of the skeleton race's traits was being able to control severed limbs for a short time. So the moment Lion thought victory was already in the bag and completely dropped his guard, Zhan Yu made his move. This fighter called Zhan Yu has been laying traps step by step the entire time. The instant those words fell, Zhan Yu leaped up, ready to take Lion's life. But in the very next second, a terrifying aura blasted him away on the spot. The one who made the move was none other than Zhuang Huaishui, one of the two big shots. Zhuang Huaishui clenched his 5 fingers. Zhan Yu's body instantly began to break apart. Just as that final skull was about to be crushed completely, a slender hand caught it. The one who stepped in to save him was the other big shot, Wu Yu. Then she lightly raised her hand. In an instant, Sky-turning finger erupted. It blew a massive gash straight through the arena. Zhuang Huaishui stared at the wound on his hand in disbelief. "You crazy woman? Are you trying to kill me?" But Wu Yu did not even bother responding to him and simply began healing Zhan Yu. Then she said in a soft voice, "From now on, you are my private property. Remember to use my name when you go out. No1 is allowed to touch a single bone of yours." Wu Yu then showed a gentle smile. "Turtle Bunny, aren't you going to announce the result? Or do you want a taste of that too?" Turtle Bunny, who had been hiding behind the rubble, jumped in shock. We're here. Just a second. Today, we have witnessed the rise of a new star. Congratulations to fighter Zhan Yu for becoming the champion of this ring tournament. Reward: 5,000 experience points. Lu Li jumped straight to level 15 and learned the skill Shadow Step, permanently increasing his agility by 20%. He also received a level 15 purple weapon, the Blood Vigor Dagger. Lu Li's eyes lit up. Nice. This dagger actually has life-steal. As long as my attack is high enough, this thing is basically an infinite engine. Then someone cut in impatiently. "Enough chatter from you two. Start the storm trial already." Lu Li froze. What trial? As it turned out, the storm arena was split into 2 parts, the ring tournament and the storm trial. The storm trial meant that the champion had to survive for 8 hours as a field boss. The more players he killed, the more experience and contribution points he would earn. Those contribution points could then be exchanged for skills and weapons. At that moment, Zhuang Huaishui started cursing under his breath. "Wu Yu, are you openly provoking my North Peak Hall? I'm reporting this to the city lord. You just want the Ice Spring Fortune in my hands, don't you?" Wu Yu let out a cold laugh. "Zhuang Huaishui, are you done talking to that old fossil yet? Don't think I don't know you already planned to hand the championship to the Lion Clan. And believe it or not, the next time war breaks out, I'll cut off your North Peak Hall's pay and equipment supplies myself." The 2 big shots ended up arguing on the spot, like street vendors in a shouting match. Run! If these 2 really start fighting, they might wipe out the whole city. At that moment, Wu Yu suddenly turned around and shot him a chilling look. "Kid, don't come back until you've killed 1,000 players." "Understood, ma'am." This junior got it. Right then, the Random Achievement Codex suddenly triggered an achievement called Careless Remark, and the mission requirement was coincidentally the exact same thing. Kill 1,000 players. Lu Li was left speechless. He had almost forgotten that piece of equipment even existed. At the same time, a world announcement suddenly rang out across the game. Real elite boss Blood Moon Walker has descended. Coordinates broadcasting in real time. Hidden equipment. At that same moment, the Omniscient Bracelet also randomly granted Lu Li a new skill, Hunter's Edge. Once activated, the skill unleashed 4 consecutive slashes on a target. If the target was killed, it would automatically jump to the next target within 10 meters and keep attacking, which meant it could theoretically chain forever. On top of that, every kill increased its damage by another 150%, meaning the longer the chain went on, the more absurd the damage became. This was basically a divine harvesting skill built specifically for mowing down players. As long as he first lowered their health enough, he could just keep chaining kills endlessly. Lu Li could not help asking, "So my location is being broadcast to the entire server in real time?" "Yes, master." "Then all that's left now is to wait for the dishes to be served." After that, wave after wave of players rushed over, fighting to become free kills. It did not take long before almost every player in the area had been slaughtered. Too bad I can't pick up these weapons. Time to move to the next area. Just then, another lone player showed up. The guy was still muttering to himself nonstop. "I'm the protagonist. All the gear belongs to me." Lu Li scoffed. "What kind of idiot says that? I'm the real protagonist here." Lu Li did not waste a word. He turned into a blur of shadow and shut the man up with a single strike. "What the hell? I got 1 shot? Where's my protagonist aura? My drop gear?" Right after that, another pack of players rushed in just to die. Before long, Lu Li's kill count had already reached 444, but he still felt it was too little and way too slow. So Lu Li directly opened his contact list. He sent his younger brother Ah Fei a location pin. "Get over here now." And the clueless Ah Fei got excited instead. "Second brother, are you giving me gear?" But when Ah Fei arrived, he found weapons scattered all over the ground. The place looked like a graveyard for players. "Second brother seriously delivered me a whole armory?" Meanwhile, Lu Li's eyes had already locked onto a beautiful female swordswoman. To his surprise, that swordswoman was actually soloing an epic boss by herself. Lu Li immediately had the sprite assistant check her background, only to find out that she was a hidden class among swordsmen, Moonlight Knight. At that moment, the female swordswoman also realized someone seemed to be watching her. Then, in the next second, a group of people suddenly burst out of the bushes. The moment they showed up, they started yelling that they were going to take the gear the swordswoman had just dropped. One of them even bragged that his older brother was the guild master of the Arrogant Guild. But in the very next second, the female swordswoman instantly killed him. Lu Li had originally planned to wait and let them wear each other down first, but the swordswoman had already noticed him too, so he had no choice but to show himself. At that moment, the swordswoman was conflicted as well. On one hand, she was worried that the Arrogant Guild would come back for revenge. On the other, this boss was way too challenging, and she really did not want to give it up. Lu Li, meanwhile, also felt that this swordswoman was obviously a tough opponent and probably a fun one to fight, but he was still worried that more and more players would soon come hunting him down. In the end, the two of them moved at almost the exact same time, as if they had reached a silent understanding. But not long after that, the Arrogant Guild really did arrive in full force. And even more coincidentally, the players coming to hunt Lu Li also showed up at that exact same moment. That left the two fighters, who had been in the middle of battling each other, completely speechless. But the instant their eyes met, both of them immediately understood what the other was thinking. In the next second, they directly switched positions. Lu Li charged straight into the Arrogant Guild's formation. Meanwhile, the female swordswoman turned and plunged into the group that had come to hunt Lu Li. Neither side dared let their guard down, and both groups rushed straight at their chosen targets. But nobody was willing to give way, so they crashed into each other and fell into total chaos. What shocked them even more was that Lu Li and the swordswoman suddenly doubled back at the same time. Then they started sweeping through everyone from the rear of the formation. In an instant, the entire battlefield fell into complete disorder. Skills were being fired off blindly, and friendly fire started happening all over the place. It was not until a final explosive boom rang out that everything finally went quiet. Only then did the crowd begin guessing that those two had probably been killed too, right? One surviving player rejoiced. "That was close. I'm down to a sliver of health." But what no one knew was that this had just perfectly triggered Lu Li's chain kill skill. Hunter's Edge went off in an instant and wiped out a whole crowd of low health players on the spot. Just like that, Lu Li was only one kill away from his goal of 1,000. And at that point, the only one still left standing was the female swordswoman. And she clearly had no intention of letting him go either. So in the next second, the two of them clashed once again. At the same time, back in the real world, the butler was calling Bai Xiaoyu down for dinner, but she had no appetite at all. After that, she quietly picked up her diary and began writing. What she was writing was actually strategy notes for Phantom Moon. And what she wrote at that moment was, "Today, I was killed once by Blood Moon Walker. This boss has advanced artificial intelligence and wisdom beyond that of ordinary humans." So it turned out that she was the female swordswoman. Meanwhile, right after Lu Li completed his 1,000 kills, he finally received the random loot chest mission reward. To his shock, the item he opened turned out to be a mythic grade piece of equipment, God Summoning Earrings. The attached skill was even more absurd. It could let him completely transform into any target, including their voice, appearance, talents, and more, copying them almost perfectly. That said, the ability really did fit an assassin-type class perfectly. At that moment, the reward for winning the Storm Arena was finally handed out, and Lu Li's level shot straight up to 21. He also gained a skill called Rending Burst Blade. It boosted his next attack by 180%, while ignoring 20% of the target's defense, which basically meant his normal attack damage jumped by another 2 times. Combined with the harvesting skill Hunter's Edge, it was practically a power leveling miracle. On top of that, he received a purple title, Storm Rising Star. That was enough to make Zhuang Huaishui grind his teeth in anger. Wu Yu, on the other hand, unexpectedly praised Lu Li. "Come with me. I'll take you somewhere good." The moment she said that, she tore open space itself. By the time Lu Li came back to his senses, he realized he had been brought to a place filled with a massive blood pool. The more he thought about it, the more wronged everything felt. Ever since turning into a skeleton monster, everything that had happened was completely outside the game's original design plan. At that moment, Wu Yu interrupted his thoughts. "Do you know why that lion was able to crush opponents at the same level?" Lu Li replied, "Because of bloodline, I'm guessing." Wu Yue nodded. "Exactly. Every monster is like equipment, and bloodline is the equivalent of its grade. The difference in bloodline creates an enormous gap in both base stats and growth potential. And to tell you something you probably won't like hearing, your bloodline is the lowest tier of all. Lu Li stared at the blood pool in shock. Don't tell me this place can raise bloodline rank. Wu Yue nodded again. You're quick. Pick any section and jump in. As for how far you evolve, that depends on your own fortune. I hope you'll surprise me. But what even Wu Yue did not expect was how fast Lu Li absorbed the power of the blood pool. She thought to herself, didn't expect that. He actually has some potential. At this rate, his improvement should be pretty substantial. But right then, a rush of footsteps suddenly came from behind. Lady Wu Yu. The ones who arrived were actually the City Lord's Black Death Guard. The guard announced, by order of the City Lord, you are to head to the main city immediately for an urgent discussion. Wu Yue looked annoyed. Of all times, it had to be now? Can't you see I'm in the middle of something? But the captain of the guard directly pulled out a decree. I assume Lady Wu Yu recognizes the Blood Edict. Anyone who disobeys will be executed on the spot. Wu Yue let out a helpless sigh. If he's gone as far as issuing a blood edict, then fine. I'll give him that much respect. But before leaving, Wu Yu tossed Lu Li a strangely cryptic line. There are occasional falling rocks around here. Try not to get crushed to death. The confused Lu Li could only watch Wu Yue leave, unable to say a single word. After that, all he could do was speed up his absorption of the blood pool's power. Soon, the most critical stage of evolution arrived. But right at that moment, countless figures suddenly charged down from the mountain, and Lu Li, who was still in the middle of evolving, suddenly opened his crimson eyes. So. That was what Wu Yu meant by falling rocks. Sure enough, a group of assassins was already rushing in to kill him. But when their attacks struck the fireball Lu Li had transformed into, the shattered fireball began to madly absorb the blood from the pool. Then a figure slowly rose from within the blood pool. The assassins were instantly stunned. Our sword aura clearly passed right through that fireball. How the hell is he still alive? To make sure nothing else went wrong, two of them immediately charged at Lu Li again. But what they never could have imagined was that Lu Li had already transformed into a human with demonic horns. While the two of them were still frozen in shock, Lu Li had already flashed straight between them, and in the next second, two heads shot into the air. The leader's face changed on the spot. The intel never said he was this strong. He immediately ordered everyone to switch tactics and coordinate the assassination. But just as they were about to reach Lu Li, bloody holes suddenly appeared in the chests of the men at the front. Their hearts had already been crushed in Lu Li's hand. At that moment, the leader finally charged in personally. He opened with his signature move, Shadow becomes Blade. In a flash, he closed the distance and roared, Die! But right then, Lu Li suddenly curled his lips into a smile. A chill instantly ran down the leader's spine. He immediately leaped backward. He saved his life, but one of his arms was ruined. What made it worse was that he still had no idea how Lu Li had even attacked. But the moment he remembered Hallmaster Zhuang Huaishui once saying, the Shadow Unit is my pride, he made up his mind that no matter what happened today, Lu Li's head had to come off. Then he shouted at the others, Brothers, our Lord has always believed in us. This is the moment to prove ourselves. What no one expected was that, in the very next second, those men all slit open their own stomachs in unison, and violent streams of energy burst out of their bodies. That energy then rushed straight into the leader's body, multiplying his combat strength in an instant. Just as he thought this time Lu Li was dead for sure, he saw Lu Li casually touch his earring and give him a look of pure contempt. That infuriated him so badly that he pulled out a 40-centimeter cleaver on the spot. At the same time, Lu Li also lunged straight at him. But what no one saw coming was that Lu Li suddenly transformed into a skeleton halfway through the clash, and the leader's slash was dodged with ridiculous ease. Then Lu Li struck back with a claw straight at his neck. In the man's disbelieving stare, his head separated cleanly from his body. Right then, a round of applause suddenly echoed out. It turned out Wu Yu had never left at all. She had been hiding nearby and watching the whole show. She smiled and said, Nice. Very nice. Looks like you've awakened quite a bit of potential. Lu Li immediately asked, Those people were sent by Zhuang Huaishui, weren't they? Wu Yue answered calmly, That's right. Not just the ones sent to kill you. Even the people who lured me away were arranged by Zhuang Huaishui, though I've already dealt with all of them. Lu Li walked toward Wu Yu completely naked. So this was a test from you too, wasn't it? Then, a second later, he noticed something was off. Wait, where exactly are your eyes looking? Only then did Lu Li realize that he was in human form now. Not in his former skeleton body where he could act without caring. But to his surprise, Wu Yu suddenly said she could grant Lu Li one wish. And Lu Li did not ask for money, women, or any other greedy desire. He asked for only one person, Han Yixiao. But Wu Yu has suddenly let out a soft sigh. He may already be gone. In an instant, The air itself seemed to freeze. Lu Li asked in a heavy voice, "What exactly happened?" "Why Mei?" Wu Yue answered coolly. "I only promised to grant one wish." That was already a second question, but when she glanced at Lu Li's fist, clenched so hard it had gone pale, she changed her tone. "Still, I can tell you. But first, you answer my question. Ever since the Storm Arena, you've been putting on a show right in front of me. You've been trying this hard to get close to me, and you even asked about my disciple. So what exactly is your relationship with him?" Lu Li lowered his voice. "He's my sworn brother, the one I'd trust with my life. Back when I was in the orphanage, Ah Fei and I were bullied all the time. One time, that bastard used the fact that his mother was the director to snatch away the keepsake Ah Fei's mother had left him. We couldn't beat him. Not back then. I was already on the verge of doing something extreme. I'd even picked up a sharpened wooden stick, and then, out of nowhere, someone showed up holding a broom. He rushed in and beat the hell out of those guys. That person was my big brother, Han Yixiao. From that day on, he became the closest family Ah Fei and I ever had." After hearing that, Wu Yu suddenly remembered something from the past. Han Yixiao had once come to her asking for some ordinary gear, saying he wanted to leave it for his two younger brothers. "In that case, I'll tell you. The place he went to in the end is called Infernal Purgatory." Lu Li froze. "Infernal Purgatory? What kind of place is that? And how did he end up there?" Wu Yue slowly explained. "It happened after Han Yixiao defeated the Night King. He then defended his title as Storm King once again with a record of 10 straight wins. After that, he entered the Storm Trial like he always did. But when the full 4-hour duration of the Storm Trial ended, he still never showed up. By all logic, the moment the time limit ended, he should have been forcibly teleported back. But instead, he vanished as if he had disappeared from the world. Later, after digging around everywhere I could, I finally found out that the last place he appeared was called Infernal Purgatory." Lu Li immediately pressed her. "If you already know the location, then why didn't you bring him back?" Wu Yue shook her head. "How do you know I never tried? I used every method I could think of, but no matter what I did, I still couldn't teleport into that place. It's as if some unknown force is completely sealing it off." Lu Li made up his mind on the spot. As long as he had not seen his big brother's corpse with his own eyes, then that meant Han Yixiao might still be alive. No matter what, he had to go there himself and see it with his own eyes. Right after that, Lu Li summoned the sprite assistant and told it to search for information on Infernal Purgatory. But to his surprise, even the system's built-in sprite assistant could not find a single thing. Lu Li immediately switched to manual input and prepared to search the back-end database directly. Though from Wu Yue's perspective, none of this was visible at all. All she could see was Lu Li standing there muttering to himself, to the point where she even began wondering whether the shock had finally driven him crazy. At that moment, Lu Li entered an administrator account and forced his way into the back end. Then he directly issued a command to pull up the underlying code for Infernal Purgatory. But what he never expected was that the system instantly threw up a warning, labeling it as illegal intrusion and forcing him out. Even worse, the game's foundational source code itself actually began rebooting automatically. In the very next second, Lu Li was violently kicked out of the back end. Looking at the changing expression on Lu Li's face, Wu Yue said calmly, "I've already told you everything I know. The rest, you'll have to investigate yourself." Lu Li understood perfectly well that if even the back end could not access it, then there was only one option left now. He had to go to Infernal Purgatory himself and uncover the truth. So he immediately asked, "Lady Wu Yu, how exactly am I supposed to get to that world?" Wu Yu looked speechless. "Now you're really pushing it. That's already your third question." But to everyone's surprise, the next second, the sprite assistant suddenly said, "Master, I know how to get to that world." After learning from Wu Yu that the place where his big brother had last disappeared was most likely that special world, Lu Li immediately continued pressing her for a way to reach it. But Wu Yu only knew one thing. The only apparent path to that place was through the Storm Arena. And each time, only the one who ranked first had the right to enter, with a strict time limit attached. Wu Yu let out a light sigh. Back then, your brother awakened a second talent in the blood pool, and even then, he still never made it back out. At your current strength, rushing over there now is way too reckless. You should know better than anyone that you're still far too weak. But right then, the sprite assistant suddenly spoke up and said it knew how to reach the playerworld.lu. Li instantly lit up and turned as if he was about to leave on the spot. Wu Yu was caught off guard. "Where are you going?" Lu Li answered immediately. "I already have a way to get to the player world right now." Wu Yu frowned even more. "Player world? What kind of place is that?" Lu Li explained. "The world you were just talking about." Wu Yu actually smiled after hearing that. "Now that's interesting. Then I'll be waiting for your good news." And that was exactly why Lu Li had rushed over here in time to save Ah Fei. But now that he was here, everyone from the Mianbei Guild had to die. At the time, The boss of the Myeonbae Guild had been just about to make a move on Ah Fei, yet no one could have expected Ah Fei's second brother, Lu Li, to appear out of nowhere and save him on the spot. In that instant, all the frustration Ah Fei had been bottling up came pouring out. Second brother. Those bastards scam people out of both money and women. Meanwhile, the Myeonbae trio was still secretly thrilled. So this is the second brother he keeps talking about? He gave his little brother that much gear, so this guy's gotta be loaded. Heh. A fat sheep this big just delivered himself to our door. Boys, come out and show him what Myeonbae's made of. But to everyone's surprise, after waiting for quite a while, not a single person came out, and the silence suddenly turned awkward as hell. Only then did the Myeonbae trio realize something was wrong. Whether it was the people hiding in the shadows, or the ones originally standing behind them, every last one of them had already dropped dead without a sound. Just as they were still trying to figure out what the hell had happened, Ah Fei suddenly appeared behind them. Why aren't you idiots running yet? The next second, he rushed up and robbed the lot of them clean. After that, Lu Li and Ah Fei returned to town together and sold off all the equipment they had gotten earlier. Ah Fei could not believe it. That trip alone had sold for 95,000 gold, which was worth over 10,000 in cash. But right then, Lu Li suddenly gave a merchant a thumbs up. Your hair looks awesome. Ah Fei nearly jumped out of his skin. Wasn't that just asking to die? To his shock, the merchant did not get angry at all, and instead threw his arms around Lu Li. You, my friend, truly know greatness when you see it. At the same time, a system window popped up. Hidden buyback merchant quest triggered. Buyback price for this transaction increased by 10%. Ah Fei was speechless. That works too? What kind of normal person goes around complimenting a bald guy? But Lu Li knew exactly what this was. It was just a little Easter egg the programmers had buried in the game. At that moment, Ah Fei also gained the title Wealth Beyond Measure, because he now possessed over 100,000 gold. He instantly started walking like the wind itself was under his feet. What Ah Fei could not understand, though, was why Lu Li had not sold off the remaining purple gear too. The answer was simple. Lu Li planned to sell it at the auction house instead. More importantly, he also wanted to use the opportunity to gather information about his big brother's disappearance. Only then did Ah Fei remember that he had asked Lu Li on the way why he had suddenly come looking for him. So this was the reason. Lu Li had already found out that the last place Han Yixiao appeared before vanishing was Infernal Purgatory. But the problem was that there was no such place anywhere in the game. That meant it was most likely a hidden dungeon, and one far beyond their current level. That was why Lu Li wanted to see if he could buy useful information at the auction house. When the two of them arrived at the auction house, they were treated like honored guests the moment the title Wealth Beyond Measure was recognized. They were even assigned a beautiful personal receptionist right away. On the way in, Ah Fei also brought another person inside with them. That was because the guy had been stopped at the entrance earlier for being a few hundred gold short. Seeing that, Ah Fei had simply brought him in along with them. But right then, a figure suddenly brushed past Lu Li's side. Lu Li's expression changed instantly. That silhouette. Why did it feel so familiar? Had he seen it somewhere before? And because of the Wealth Beyond Measure title, they were then arranged into a private room with a dedicated beauty to receive them. The receptionist began explaining that the other epic grade purple items could all go straight to auction. Among them, the highly ranked Light Sword Starlight would even be sent directly to the elite auction. Right on cue, Ah Fei's habit of flirting kicked in again. Miss, are you going too? There's still a lot I don't understand, and I'd really love your personal guidance. At that moment, Lu Li flicked Ah Fei on the forehead. Get serious already. Then he pulled out a list of items. Please help us gather these. We'll come back for them later. After that, the two of them headed into the elite auction. The first item up for sale was Star of Blazing Fire. Once embedded into a weapon, it would turn the attack into fire element damage. The starting bid was 20,000 gold. Bidder 78 raised the price first, calling out 25,000. Bidder 88 immediately followed with 28,000. Then bidder 36 jumped the price straight to 35,000. He was secretly feeling pretty smug too, thinking nobody would fight him for it now. After all, he had come here specifically for this item, and the price was already high enough. But what he never saw coming was someone suddenly throwing out a bid of 50,000. The man was completely dumbfounded. Star of Blazing Fire was definitely good, but it was nowhere near worth that much. Someone beside him whispered, "That's young Master Han, one of the top cash players. He's doing it just to make a beauty smile." Ah, Fei curled his lip. 50,000 for a lousy rock? That's one hell of a sucker. Lu Li could only shake his head. That sounds a little bitter. What? Jealous because you don't have a girl? The next item turned out to be a maid outfit. After a fierce round of bidding from a bunch of male players, bidder 66 finally took it. But what happened next practically shattered everyone's worldview. Bidder 66 actually asked to put it on right there in front of everyone. Even the host looked speechless. Distinguished guest, you could really change into that in private. But before anyone could react, The man had already changed in the blink of an eye, leaving the entire room stunned. Even Lu Li and Ah Fei got goosebumps from the sight. This game really had every type of lunatic imaginable. After that bizarre little interlude ended, the auction finally resumed. But to everyone's surprise, every item that came up after that was bought by the guy calling himself Young Master Han. A lot of people in the room started leaving one after another, muttering that if he was going to buy everything anyway, he might as well just buy out the whole place instead of wasting everyone's time. Ah, Fei looked annoyed too. That guy's such a poser. I seriously want to go over there and smack him. Lu Li just replied calmly, that won't do. Our piece of gear is going to make us rich off him in a minute. Right then, the rare light sword Starlight finally appeared as the finale item, with a starting bid of 200,000 gold. Young Master Han made his move immediately, bidding 250,000. In his mind, nobody would dare fight him now. Buying all those smaller items earlier had been part of his plan, just to scare everyone else off. This time, he was sure he had it in the bag, but to his shock, Ah Fei directly raised the bid to 300,000. Young Master Han was visibly startled. He had not noticed there was actually someone here with real spending power. He quickly followed with 350,000. Ah, Fei answered with 400,000. Young Master Han called out 450,000, and Ah Fei immediately pushed it to 500,000. At that point, the woman beside Young Master Han tried to persuade him to stop, saying the item was not worth that price anymore. But what Young Master Han wanted was never the sword itself. What he wanted was the feeling of being admired by everyone in the room. So he clenched his teeth and shouted, 600,000. Ah, Fei was just about to throw out 700,000 without thinking, but Lu Li stopped him. That's enough. We're good. Just as Young Master Han was starting to enjoy the feeling of guaranteed victory, a voice suddenly echoed through the hall. 1 million. The entire room sucked in a cold breath at once. That was an outrageous amount of money. Everyone turned to look toward the source of the voice, only to discover that it was a white-haired swordswoman. At that point, even Young Master Han had no choice but to admit defeat. That price was enough to buy 2 of them. Soon after, Lu Li and Ah Fei left the auction house together. But what they did not know was that the white-haired swordswoman was standing atop a tall building, silently watching them. How does he have my sword? I clearly remember that it was taken by that skeleton boss. Lu Li decided that the first thing he needed to do was raise his level some more. At his current level, he still could not reach the dungeon tied to his big brother's disappearance. But to his surprise, he ran into the buyer who had just paid a sky-high price for their weapon. It turned out that Starlight had originally been that girl's weapon, but she had lost it earlier while fighting a field boss. Ah, Fei laughed and said, my brother got that off a real-world boss drop, so it was probably the one you're talking about. But in the very next second, the girl suddenly rushed up to Lu Li. Can you fight me? Ah, Fei's head filled with question marks. Was this girl not that bright? Picking a fight with his second brother was basically asking to get destroyed. Lu Li, however, simply turned around and tossed out a calm reply. Sorry, not interested. Then he left with Ah Fei. The girl was left standing there alone, looking awkward as hell. When Lu Li and Ah Fei arrived at the mission town, they found that the quest description said 2 monsters would appear there. Ah Fei assumed they were the quest mobs and charged forward without a second thought. But to his surprise, those 2 turned out to be town residents, NPCs. Once they learned Lu Li and Ah Fei were there for the mission, they immediately became warm and enthusiastic, dragging them off to meet the rest of the townsfolk. Before long, everyone in the town had gathered together, but the more Ah Fei looked around, the stranger it felt. Second brother, why is this quest different from what you said? You told me the mission was supposed to send us to a human town, help them wipe out the monsters besieging them, rescue a little girl with the Holy Light body, and escort her to the Temple of Holy Light. So why is everyone here pigfolk? And where's the little girl? Lu Li noticed it too. Even though all the characters had changed, the dialogue seemed almost exactly the same. At that moment, the one claiming to be the village chief suddenly said they would prepare a feast to welcome the 2 of them. Then he led Lu Li and Ah Fei to the place where the meal was being served. The moment Ah Fei heard that food in the game actually had flavor, he was ready to start eating immediately. But Lu Li grabbed him first and told him to focus on the mission. Ah Fei looked confused. But there's no mission prompt at all. Are we seriously supposed to ask every single person one by one? Right then, Lu Li suddenly noticed that most of the villagers were frantically stuffing themselves with meat. Only one little pig girl was quietly holding an apple. Lu Li instantly figured it out and walked up behind her. Are you trying to get to the Temple of Holy Light? The little pig girl whipped around, her voice trembling with excitement. Are you the hero who came to save me? At the same time, Lu Li received the system notification that the quest had been successfully triggered. But in that exact same moment, The moon in the sky suddenly turned into a blood moon. The pig folk who had been eating just moments ago all had their eyes turn red and began closing in on them with savage intent. Their combat power was clearly not much to speak of, though. Fei casually took one down with a single move. Lu Li cut one down at almost the exact same time. The problem was that more and more mutated villagers kept appearing. Still, after a brutal round of fighting, the two of them managed to wipe out the entire wave of village monsters. But right then, Fei suddenly noticed that the monsters they had already chopped into pieces were slowly stitching themselves back together. A moment later, they climbed right back up and surrounded the three of them all over again. Fei was instantly speechless. They've got immortal bodies too? How the hell are we supposed to play this? Lu Li made the call immediately and told everyone to retreat first. The three of them quickly carved open a gap and ran out with the little girl. They only managed to shake off the pursuers after hiding inside a room. But just as they were finally catching their breath, a dark figure suddenly lunged at Fei. To their surprise, it was actually the girl who had bought the sword earlier. She immediately made a hand sign, telling Fei not to make a sound. Neither Fei nor Lu Li said anything, but both of them froze for a second. Why had this girl followed them too? Fei's thoughts instantly went off the rails. Did she actually have a crush on him? Lu Li, meanwhile, felt a little guilty. Had she already figured out who he really was? The girl gestured to them again, signaling for them to head upstairs first. Once they got upstairs, she finally explained that she was here for the mission too, and that she had arrived even earlier than Lu Li's group. The moment she reached the village, though, she felt something was off, so she stayed hidden and kept observing from the shadows. But just when she had finally started uncovering a few clues, Lu Li and the others barged in and threw her whole plan off course. Hearing that, both Lu Li and Fei felt awkward. Looks like they really had been overthinking things. Lu Li then turned to the little girl, who had been quiet the whole time. You should know something, right? Don't be scared. We're here to protect you. So tell us what you know. To their surprise, the little girl was also wearing a mask. Then she slowly began to explain. Those monsters roaming around now had originally only wandered outside the village. As long as people avoided them, nothing usually happened. But on that particular day, a knight from the Holy Light Society came to the village. He led the entire village in a sacred prayer, and right in the middle of it, the little girl suddenly felt her whole body burning up. The knight was overjoyed when he heard that and declared that she possessed the 1 in 10,000 Holy Light body. He said that if she joined the Holy Light Society, the village would never have to fear those monsters again. But just as everyone was celebrating, the monsters suddenly attacked, and no matter how they fought, they simply could not be killed. Even that knight died while trying to protect the villagers. As for the girl herself, she only survived because she hid inside a small room. After that, she put on a mask just like theirs and waited for a chance to escape. After hearing everything, Fei stood up immediately. Don't worry, we'll definitely get you to the Temple of Holy Light. But right then, a gigantic eye suddenly appeared outside the window. Lu Li and the swordswoman had not even had time to react. The little girl was already snatched up by a giant monster. It growled. Found you at last. Lu Li and the other two stared at the quest boss in front of them, all with grim expressions on their faces. Even so, they still had no choice but to charge in, because if the Holy Light Girl died, the mission would fail on the spot. The three of them unleashed a fierce barrage on the boss and barely managed to wound it. But in the very next second, the boss's injuries healed at terrifying speed. Then it countered with a single strike and blasted all three of them away. After they barely regained their footing, every one of them looked fed up. The thing was huge, hit like a truck, and healed insanely fast on top of that. The girl, however, kept calm and said there had to be some kind of trick to it. Before they could figure anything out, the boss smashed down with another brutal blow and sent the three of them flying again. After dodging the hit, Lu Li immediately told Fei to cover him. Fei did not hesitate. He raised his hand and launched a meteor of fire straight at the boss. The boss responded by lifting an arm and blocking the incoming fireball head-on. Right then, Lu Li seized the opening and rushed straight toward the boss, targeting the very hand holding the Holy Light Girl. The boss clearly noticed what he was trying to do and answered with a brutal punch straight at him. Lu Li instantly triggered Backstab and Rending Burst Blade. In the blink of an eye, several deep cuts were carved across that arm. But just as Lu Li was about to rescue the Holy Light Girl, he suddenly heard Fei shout from behind, "Second brother, watch out!" To his shock, several minions burst straight out from the boss's arm. Before Lu Li could even react, the swordswoman flashed behind him and cut down all three minions with a single swing. Then she shouted at once, "Go save her!" But at that exact moment, the boss's arm suddenly whipped violently through the air. Its enormous body exploded apart into countless smaller monsters. Lu Li instantly understood what was happening. This boss had been a fusion made from all those minions. The swordswoman's brows tightened. There's no way this is a quest meant for players at our level. She quickly concluded that the real goal of the quest was probably not killing the boss at all, but escorting the Holy Light girl safely to the Temple of Holy Light. Luli immediately told Ah Fei to hold back the swarm, chasing them from behind. Meanwhile, he and the swordswoman went after the monster that had run off with the Holy Light girl. The problem was that the creature knew the town far too well, so the two of them simply could not catch up. A moment later, they chased it into a building, and to their shock, they discovered that the real villagers had all been imprisoned inside. Luli did not waste a second. He brought his sword down and blasted the door apart. But just as they were about to continue the chase, Ah Fei's desperate cry suddenly rang out from behind them. "Second brother, help! There are too many of them. I can't hold them back." At the same time, the monster grabbed the Holy Light girl and leaped straight onto the rooftops, even turning back to mock them. "Bye now, heroes!" Suddenly, Ah Fei pulled out a potion bottle and tossed it to Luli and the swordswoman. In the next instant, all three of them vanished on the spot like a magic trick, leaving the minions staring in confusion. A little later, near the corner of a wall in the distance, Ah Fei finally let out a long breath. Thank God for this invisibility skill, or we'd be dead by now. But this won't solve anything. These monsters stick to us like glue. Luli nodded. Exactly. Right now, the two priorities are finding the Holy Light girl and pulling this swarm away from us. Looks like we need to split up. Ah Fei, you lure the monsters away. I'll look for the girl's location. Luoli, you handle support. The three of them moved immediately. Ah Fei was the first to act, blowing up one building after another. Then he shouted at the top of his lungs, "Come get your grandpa!" Sure enough, the monsters were quickly drawn away. Meanwhile, Luli set his sights on a dumb-looking monster crouched nearby, munching away. He walked up and slapped it on the shoulder. Tired, huh? Looks like you're enjoying that food. The creature jumped in shock and spun around. I only took a bite because I'm exhausted from all the running. What it did not know was that Luli had already transformed into one of them. He answered naturally. Yeah, same here. I snuck a bite too. Running around like this is exhausting. Come on, let's rest a bit and chat. The monster asked while eating, do you think those three heroes might actually rescue that little girl? Luli feigned confusion and replied, Little girl? You mean that sacrifice? The monster waved a hand. That part doesn't matter. Old Wang knows the layout of this village like the back of his hand. If he doesn't want anyone to find her, they could dig 3 feet into the ground and still come up empty. Right, how could I forget that? Come on, let's go. We're supposed to gather at the village entrance. The monster froze for a second. Why gather at the village entrance? Old Wang is at the clock tower right now. We're supposed to go there and protect him. The monster patted its head and mocked itself. Damn, my brain's fried. I must be exhausted from all this running. But the moment it turned around, a chill suddenly ran down its back, and in the next instant, it blacked out. Not long after that, Luli rushed all the way to the clock tower, and sure enough, the Holy Light girl was hidden there. The monster guarding her had not even processed what was happening before Luli killed it in one strike. After that, Luli brought the Holy Light girl back and successfully reunited with Ah Fei and Bai Xiaoyu, and the three of them decided to leave the village first. The problem was that there were simply too many monsters chasing them, and they could not shake them off at all. Right then, Ah Fei tossed out several vials. Drink up. These boost movement speed by 30%. The next second, the group barely managed to dodge another strike from the huge monster. Before long, they finally made it out of the village. But Luli still felt it was safer to keep running farther. But just then, that giant monster suddenly swung its huge arm. In the next instant, countless minions came pouring down like a tidal wave and shot straight ahead of Luli's group, forming a black wall that blocked the road. Seeing Ah Fei momentarily stunned, Luli shouted, "Why are you spacing out? Run!" Right after that, pig-headed monsters started crashing into the ground like cannonballs. Luli and the others dodged left and right so desperately that their escape looked like some kind of chaotic coin run mode. They kept jumping and scrambling the whole way, looking absolutely miserable. Then, all of a sudden, they spotted a goose walking ahead on foot. The goose had not even figured out what was going on yet. Before it could react, Luli and the others had already jumped on its back and turned it into a mount. In the very next second, the goose took off like lightning and left the pig-headed monsters far behind. Only then did the group finally stop by a lakeside. The Holy Light girl asked timidly, "This lake is so pretty. Can I go play for a bit?" Ah Fei also felt like his legs were about to fall off from all that running, while Bai Xiaoyu thought the area might trigger another quest, so she agreed to. Luli made a rough estimate. Even if those pig-headed monsters chased after them, it would still take at least half an hour to catch up, so he decided to give everyone 15 minutes to rest. After that, the group finally got a rare moment to relax and started having a little fun by the lakeside. At that moment, the Holy Light girl suddenly noticed that Bai Xiaoyu seemed a little down the whole time. She gently hugged Bai Xiaoyu's arm and asked seriously, "Big sister, Is there something making you unhappy? Let me pray for you." Then the girl began chanting softly, "The holy light is always here, shining on yesterday, today, and tomorrow." In the next second, a brilliant radiance burst forth. It was so bright that Bai Xiaoyu could barely keep her eyes open. Through the haze, she could only make out a vague silhouette. Slowly, the image became clear. It was a smiling couple. Her father called out gently in her memory, "Yu, Daddy's taking us to the amusement park today. Come on." The beautiful woman beside him looked at her with a warm and gentle smile. By then, Bai Xiaoyu's eyes were already soaked with tears. "Mom, it's Mom." Seeing that reaction, the little girl immediately felt guilty. "I'm sorry, big sister. I prayed for a beautiful memory, but I still made you sad." But Bai Xiaoyu smiled gently. "Thank you. What I remembered really was something beautiful." Then she softly patted the little girl on the head. "You're amazing." Watching all of that, Ah Fei suddenly got curious too. "Is it really that magical? Little sister, do one for me too." Delighted by the praise, the little girl happily reached out her hand. "Big brother, give me your hand." Another soft chant began to ring out. When Ah Fei opened his eyes again, he found himself seemingly back at home, with his big brother and second brother piling food into his bowl. Ah Fei could not say a word. All he could do was lower his head, keep stuffing food into his mouth. Seeing tears streaming down his face, the little girl asked curiously, "Big brother Hero, are you okay?" Ah Fei quickly turned away. "I'm fine. I just suddenly got hungry." Then he dove straight into the lake. Seeing that, Lu Li could more or less guess what kind of memory Ah Fei had just seen. At that moment, the little girl timidly climbed up the tree. Lu Li frowned at once. "Why are you climbing up here?" The little girl asked softly. "Hero, do you also have something weighing on your heart?" Lu Li answered calmly. "It's too dangerous up here. I don't need to revisit any memories. Go back down." The little girl blinked. "Hero, don't you want to remember some beautiful moments?" Lu Li replied in an even tone. "Memories only slow people down. Sooner or later, you have to learn to keep moving forward." The little girl looked a little dazed. "Hero, you always sound so profound. But with you here, I really do feel safe. I've always wanted to pray for everyone too, but I keep feeling like I never do enough." Lu Li gently patted her on the head. "You're already doing just fine." After that short break, the group got ready to set out again. Just then, a system window suddenly popped up, and the random achievement codex was triggered again. The quest objective was to escort the little girl to the Holy Light Society, and with the Holy Light Society's help, kill the Pig King. But Lu Li's group had barely rested by the lake for long before the pig-headed monsters caught up again, forcing them back onto the road of escape. During the repeated counterattacks, Bai Xiaoyu suddenly realized in shock that the pig-headed monsters they killed were actually regenerating, and their recovery speed was getting faster and faster. The worst part was that they were still a full 50 kilometers away from the Holy Light Society. Just as Ah Fei pulled out a stamina potion, preparing to restore some of his energy, a pig-headed monster opened its huge maw and lunged straight at his back. Luckily, Lu Li turned around in time and drove it back with a slash. But at the same moment, the rest of the pig-headed monsters instantly swarmed in from all sides. Thankfully, Ah Fei fired off a massive fireball and blasted open a gap. Then he spun around, grabbed Lu Li, and kept sprinting forward. But when they were only 20 kilometers away from the Holy Light Society, a massive canyon suddenly appeared in front of them. Ah Fei looked at the abyss and felt his scalp tingle. Bai Xiaoyu, however, analyzed the terrain. The canyon is narrow. Their speed should be restricted in there. But Lu Li still felt uneasy, because he had noticed that the number of pig-headed monsters chasing them seemed to be decreasing. But there was no time to think too deeply about it, so the group could only grit their teeth and rush into the canyon. After running for a while, Ah Fei finally let out a breath. "Just like I thought. This narrow path is really restricting them. It actually takes some pressure off us." Then Bai Xiaoyu asked, "Did you notice it too? The number of pig-headed monsters really has dropped." Lu Li nodded. "Yeah, by about 60%. But in the very next second, Lu Li's heart suddenly sank, and he barked out, "Speed up! There may be an ambush ahead." Strangely enough, though, nothing happened the whole way until they reached the canyon exit. At that point, they were only 6 kilometers away from the Holy Light Society. But just then, the exit that had been right in front of them was suddenly sealed off by something massive. The three of them immediately looked up, and what they saw was that the pig boss had somehow circled around and gotten ahead of them. In an instant, Lu Li's group was trapped in the middle, with enemies blocking both front and rear. A completely chaotic melee broke out right away. But not long after, Lu Li realized in horror that the little girl was gone. She had been protected in the middle of the three of them the whole time. So how had she suddenly disappeared? Even stranger, the pig-headed monsters that had been attacking them suddenly ignored the three of them completely, turned around, and rushed toward the canyon exit while muttering over and over, "Snack, Snack. All three of them were stunned at once. Had the little girl taken advantage of the chaos and run toward the Holy Light Society by herself? No matter what the truth was, they had to chase after her immediately and find out. But when they reached the Holy Light Society, what they saw was a scene straight out of a nightmare. A man dressed like a knight was holding a little girl whose body had already been reduced to only half of itself. There was even a twisted smile hanging on his lips. You've already become one with the Holy Light. Bowed, proud to be honored. And that man was none other than the leader of the Holy Light Society. Holding the little girl in his arms, he asked softly, "Are you willing to become a part of the Holy Light and save those innocent villagers?" The little girl answered without hesitation, her eyes firm. "I am willing. May the Holy Light shine into every dark corner of this world." The leader nodded in satisfaction. "Then become one with the Holy Light completely." In the next second, he suddenly opened his mouth wide and swallowed the little girl whole. Right after that, his entire body was wrapped in blinding holy radiance. At that exact moment, the pig boss suddenly appeared and raised one giant palm high into the air. Then it slammed that massive hand down toward the members of the Holy Light Society, sending shattered stone flying everywhere. In that single blow, the Knights of the Holy Light Society suffered devastating casualties. But the pig boss had no intention of stopping. In the blink of an eye, it raised both hands again. Yet just then, a beam of holy light suddenly pierced straight through its body. The one who attacked was the Holy Light Society leader, and he himself remained completely unharmed. Then countless more rays of holy light shot toward the pig boss. The pig boss crashed heavily to the ground, while the leader floated in front of it and said coldly, "The power of the holy light will keep burning your body. Your regeneration and splitting abilities are useless here." Then he raised a sword forged from holy radiance and spoke slowly. "Where the holy light shines, darkness must retreat." With that, he slowly brought the blade down. But at that very moment, Lu Li suddenly made his move and attacked the leader instead. One backstab landed cleanly and knocked the leader backward on the spot. The leader immediately raised a hand. "Wait, hero, are we perhaps misunderstanding each other? The Holy Light Society is supposed to be your ally. That pig-headed monster is our common enemy. As long as you kill it now, I'll reward you handsomely." But Lu Li did not even glance at the pig boss. He stared straight at the leader instead. "Why did you do that?" The leader froze for a second, then smiled. "You mean that little girl? That was..." But before he could finish, Lu Li exploded into motion and blasted him with Rending Burst Blade. The unprepared leader was sent flying far into the distance. Lu Li immediately chased after him, his eyes cold. "Forget it. I don't want to hear the rest. You can just die." But at that exact moment, the system suddenly threw up a warning. If the Holy Light Society leader dies, the mission will fail immediately. By then, the leader had completely lost his temper. "Don't push your luck." Then he launched himself straight at Lu Li, and the two clashed head-on. This time, however, it was Lu Li who got blasted away. The leader sneered, "You're not my opponent." But right then, Ah Fei suddenly joined the fight. He unleashed Great Flame Burst on the spot. Violent flames instantly swallowed the leader whole. But just as Ah Fei was pouring everything into the attack, the flames suddenly began to weaken. "Damn it! I'm out of mana!" The leader seized that opening and burst out of the fire in a ragged state. But before he could even catch his breath, Lu Li and Bai Xiaoyu were already standing on either side of him. In the next second, the two struck together and killed the leader on the spot. Fei looked at the lifeless body of the leader with disgust written all over his face. Fei spat. Trash like that wouldn't be worth forgiving even if he died 100 times. But just then, the pig boss suddenly let out a tortured howl. Snack, snack, snack. And then, unbelievably, tears slowly began to fall from the corners of its eyes. Even Lu Li was stunned by the sight. "Why are you crying? Is this some kind of repentance?" But in the very next second, a flood of memories surged up inside the pig boss. Back when it was still very small, it had been that little girl who protected it and stopped the other children from bullying it. When it got hurt, the little girl had even bandaged its wounds with her own hands. After that, the little girl told it that her name was Dying Sin. She said she wanted to be its friend, and she hoped it could live happily, just like a human. Then she said goodbye and told it she would come see it again the next day. But from that day on, it never saw the little girl again. Even so, it never forgot her words. So it slowly started learning what it meant to live like a human being. After hearing that, Ah Fei looked speechless. So the Diangxin you kept mumbling about wasn't a snack at all. It was her name. But even then, why did you attack the whole village? The pig boss answered in a low voice. One time, I accidentally overheard two knights talking. That's how I learned the little girl had the holy light body. But what they really wanted was to eat her. I was completely horrified, so I decided I had to protect her no matter what. Lu Li pressed further. What about the villagers? They didn't do anything wrong. Why did you treat them like that? The pig boss hesitated. then said quietly, "I told the pigs that however humans usually treated them, they should treat humans the same way." Lu Li and the others instantly went speechless. No wonder. Those things had all looked starving out of their minds. Ah, Fei frowned. "Can you still be saved? Aren't you supposed to be able to regenerate on your own?" The pig boss slowly shook its head. "Don't worry. As long as that leader dies, the skill effect on me will be removed. Once that happens, I'll recover naturally." Ah, Fei froze. "But didn't the leader already die? Then why haven't you recovered?" At that exact moment, Lu Li and the others suddenly realized something was wrong. The leader, who should have been thoroughly dead, had somehow appeared behind them without anyone noticing, and his hands were already moving through one seal after another as he laughed like a madman. "Ha ha ha! The game's only just begun. Holy light domain rise." Lu Li reacted first and slashed at him immediately, but he was still a step too late and failed to stop the leader from fully unleashing his spiritual power. In the next second, Lu Li was dragged straight into the holy light domain. Inside that place, the leader was the sky itself, while Lu Li was nothing but meat on the chopping block. Worse still, Ah Fei and Bai Xiaoyu had no way of entering, and domains like this would only disappear once one side died. Right now, all they could do was wait. Inside the domain, Lu Li stood gripping his dagger, staring coldly at the leader seated high upon a throne. Spreading his arms wide, the leader smiled with fanatic delight. "Welcome to my world. I will wash away every sin you carry." Lu Li had no patience for any of that nonsense. He kicked off the ground and shot straight at the leader. But the leader calmly raised a palm and said flatly, "Won't listen? Then you deserve punishment." The instant those words fell, a bolt of lightning crashed down from the sky and struck the exact spot where Lu Li had just been standing. Luckily, Lu Li's reflexes were fast enough for him to barely dodge it. But right then, he noticed that the lightning had actually been fired from the floating spheres of light hanging in the sky. Could it be that every single one of those light orbs was a weapon? Seeing that Lu Li had noticed, the leader burst into laughter. "What? Finally figured it out? That's right. Every ray of holy light in this sky is one of my skills. There's nowhere you can run, so kneel and accept the cleansing of the holy light. Still, I am curious. You're the hero who accepts quests, and I'm the one who gives them. Why would you attack me? Unless, are you one of the dark forces?" Lu Li simply raised his dagger and said coldly, "Because I'm going to use your life to make amends to that little girl." Then he hurled the dagger forward with all his strength, but the leader only moved his mind, and a streak of lightning dropped from above, knocking the dagger away instantly. Lu Li himself was then struck by lightning and left covered in wounds. The leader spoke slowly. "So it was because of her. If you had said those words before I deployed the domain, maybe you wouldn't have had to die. Truth be told, there's no real conflict between us. We simply follow different beliefs. A long time ago, I was actually just like you. But later, I realized this was a world built on levels. Back then, I gave quests to heroes. They respected me, followed me, and smiled with satisfaction after completing those missions. But day after day, as I listened to them talk about how wonderful the outside world was, I began yearning for it too. Then one day, a hero who had once been pathetically weak returned. But by then, he had become mysterious and powerful, and everyone worshipped him. That was the moment I swore I had to see the outside world with my own eyes. And I was right. The world outside was intoxicating. Everything was fresh and mysterious, and it was the first time I truly understood how precious freedom was. But as time passed, the forces lurking in the darkness only grew stronger, and I had no way to keep leveling up and growing stronger myself. Until one day, the holy light gave me enlightenment. I began observing weak creatures, and from them I saw the oldest law of survival, how they kill one another from birth, gathering all their strength into one place to complete their evolution and purification. After hearing all of that, Lu Li looked utterly speechless. "So that's the answer you came up with?" "That's right. Only the most devout believers can be called a holy light body, and only a body like that can provide energy of the highest purity." Lu Li gritted his teeth. "Calling you an animal is already being too kind. You're worse than any beast." But the leader threw his head back and laughed. "Say whatever you want. The number of people I've saved far exceeds the number of holy light bodies sacrificed for me." "Well then, you got the answer you wanted. Now it's time for you to die." As soon as he finished speaking, every light sphere in the sky began to flicker at once. Lu Li immediately swung out, rending burst blade, trying to force his way through. But to his shock, even the spheres that were not flashing could still unleash attacks. At that moment, a bolt of lightning condensed at the leader's fingertip. "What? Still trying to resist? Then take this." Spear of Holy Light. In the next instant, that spear of lightning pierced straight through Lu Li's body. Then several more spears of holy light came flying in and pinned themselves into him one after another. Looking down at Lu Li, now kneeling on one knee, the leader sneered. I already told you, your struggle is meaningless. You'd be better off dying quietly. Now become my nourishment. With that, he opened his mouth wide and lunged straight at Lu Li. But at that exact moment, the system suddenly threw up a glaring warning. Warning! Error! Boss state descending. Before the leader could even process what was happening, Lu Li, now in a boss state, grabbed him by the wrist. The hand controlling those light spheres is this one, isn't it? The next instant, Lu Li brought his blade down and severed the leader's arm. At the same time, the random achievement codex popped up again. Mission adjusted! Mission adjusted! Kill the Holy Light Society leader, or die immediately. Lu Li then shot high into the air and activated the harvesting skill Hunter's Edge. In a single instant, he unleashed 999 consecutive strikes, shattering every single light sphere in the sky. The Holy Light Society leader was annihilated at the very same moment. Lu Li only whispered one line. Little girl, you can rest in peace now. Right after that, the Holy Light domain began collapsing and breaking apart. Outside the domain, Ah Fei and Bai Xiaoyu stared on in panic. Ah Fei asked, so who made it out alive? In the next second, Lu Li slowly stepped out from the collapsing flames and holy light. Ah Fei immediately threw his arms around him. That's my second brother for you. You actually solo killed him. Bai Xiaoyu, meanwhile, was openly stunned. Killing a boss above his level inside a domain. How did he even pull that off? But the first thing Lu Li asked after coming out was, what about the Pig King? Ah Fei answered right away. Before the leader died, the disappearing effect on him had already stopped, but he kept holding the little girl and crying the whole time. In the end, he left with the little girl in his arms. Lu Li followed up at once. Then what about your quest? Did you complete it? Ah Fei shrugged. Of course not. It failed. But just then, the Escort the Little Girl quest suddenly restarted. With the sound of a rooster crowing at dawn, a brand new cycle of the quest began once more. Early in the morning, the little girl began her prayers just like she always did. Then she slung a pouch full of herbs over her shoulder and set off to check on the little pig, the one who would later become the Pig King. Along the way, she cheerfully greeted everyone in the village as if nothing had ever happened. But then, by accident, she bumped into one of the village uncles. After helping her back up, the man asked the Holy Light Society official behind him to take a look and see whether the child was a Holy Light body. But to everyone's surprise, the little girl suddenly slapped the man's hand away and shouted as she backed off, I don't want to become a Holy Light body. Even the villager was left stunned, because under normal circumstances, she had always been the most devout believer around. And as she ran, the little girl herself was just as startled. What was wrong with her? Why had she been so rude to someone from the Holy Light Society? Shouldn't she be repenting before the Holy Light instead? But right then, a voice suddenly came from behind her. The true Holy Light isn't somewhere else. It's inside your heart. The little girl turned around in confusion and asked, Big brother, were you talking to me? I feel like we've met somewhere before. But the man did not answer her. At the same time, the official from the Holy Light Society watched the little girl running away, greed shining in his eyes. Her faith is strong. In a few more years, she'll grow into a perfect Holy Light body. A treasure like that would be wasted if handed straight to the leader. Better to fatten it up first and enjoy it myself. But in the very next second, there was a wet slicing sound, and the man's neck was silently cut open. At the same time, the young Pig King was still crouching there picking flowers, mumbling to himself, She'll come. She won't come. Then, all of a sudden, a bright voice rang out. Little pig, I'm here. The Pig King jerked his head up, instantly overwhelmed with excitement. It's Dying Sin. It's really Dying Sin. Then he ran straight toward the little girl in joy, and not far away, Lu Li and the others were quietly watching the whole scene. Ah Fei could not help asking, so if that Holy Light Society guy was really killed by you, will the little girl's quest change now? Or does it just refresh and reset whenever the mission fails? But Lu Li suddenly stood up. Forget it. Come on, Ah Fei. Let's move on to the next mission. See you around, Luna. Ah, Fei got to his feet reluctantly. Can't the three of us just form a party already? At that point, Luna slowly stood up as well. I still don't know what you two are really after, but I get the feeling all of us need what the others can do. And we're all short on time, aren't we? So I'm still willing to team up with you again. What do you think? Lu Li thought for a moment, then reached out and shook her hand. All right, let's go together to By the Way. I still don't know your real name. Hello.my name is Zhang Yu. But just then, the game suddenly pushed out a server maintenance notice, leaving the three of them no choice but to log off and take a break. After returning to the real world, Lu Li and Ah Fei decided to grab food first. Pointing at a hot pot restaurant in the distance, Ah Fei said excitedly, Second brother, Let's eat there. I heard they bring in all their ingredients fresh from the territories every single day. Then Afe immediately walked up to the hostess at the entrance with a grin. Miss, you said if we met again, you'd give me your contact info, so don't back out now. Luli stood there speechless. So this idiot had an ulterior motive from the very beginning. Before long, all the dishes they ordered were brought to the table, and while the two of them were dipping tripe into the broth and drinking orange soda, they suddenly overheard someone behind them talking about Phantom Moon. Seriously, what's been going on with this game lately? 40 people in our guild took the same quest line, and guess what happened? Not a single one of them got exactly the same mission content. And the craziest part? It was supposed to be a level 18 quest, but one guy got assigned a solo fight against a level 35 epic boss. That's not even funny. Not even cash players would want that. Still, I've got to admit, that's what makes this game stand out. Do you think the quests are randomly generated? Or are they tailored to each player? I'm seriously curious. Hearing that, Luli sank into thought. What exactly was causing all of this? After all, when he first accepted the quest, the system prompt had clearly said it was randomly generated. And yet now, whether it was the bosses or the NPCs, everything had clearly gone off the original rails. Even weirder, he was obviously a player, and yet he had turned into an elite monster. Even the cheats he had personally created looked like they had been tampered with by some unknown force. So what exactly was going on? Then Luli suddenly remembered something Luna had said before. Everything inside the game had drifted away from its original design, and whatever was causing it was probably connected to Genesis. But what exactly was Genesis? How much did Luna really know? And most importantly, was all of this slowly guiding him toward infernal purgatory, or deliberately pushing him farther away from it? There were far too many unanswered questions. Luli silently made a note to himself. The next time he saw Luna, he was going to make her explain everything. At the same time elsewhere, Luna had just logged out and was quietly sitting there petting a cat. Before long, the butler walked in. Miss, the master is asking for you. Then he escorted her all the way to a heavy door. I won't accompany you inside. You'll have to go in on your own. Just then, a deep voice came from inside. Come in. And when the door opened, what appeared beyond it was an enormous chamber built beneath the sea. Luna lowered her head slightly. Father, did you need something from me? The man answered slowly. I heard you passed the first Genesis screening. Luna replied, Yes, father. Then 1 month from now, during the second round, you are to make it into the final candidate pool. EU not embarrass me. Luna replied respectfully. Yes, father. The man stated flatly. That will be all. You may leave. Meanwhile, after completing the Holy Light Girl's quest, Luli received a mythic grade item, the Guild Charter of the Godsworn Covenant. Its effects were absurdly strong. Every guild member would receive an all attributes boost. Once the guild reached 20 members, attack speed and cast speed would increase by 20%. At 50 members, the guild would gain the Power of Balance buff, raising weaker member stats to the guild's average level. And once the guild reached 100 members, it could even unleash a god-tier skill called Godslayer. Looking at the item, Luli could only feel a headache coming on. He had always preferred fighting alone. Right then, the sprite assistant suddenly popped out again. Master, 15 kilometers due east, the Tevar Kingdom is currently holding the Warrior Star event. Participants can win rare equipment and valuable items. But by the time Luli and the other two reached the royal castle, there was only 1 minute left before registration closed, and the entrance was already packed with people. One of the guards immediately stretched out an arm to stop the crowd. Registration is full. Everyone else can head back. Luli, however, quietly slipped 500 gold into the man's hand, and in the next second, the three of them were casually led inside. The people at the gate instantly exploded. Why did they get in? The guard played dumb on the spot. Who got in? I didn't see anybody. Afe was left speechless. This game is way too realistic. After that, the three of them headed toward the central castle of the kingdom. At the exact moment the registration countdown hit 0, a gigantic iron plate suddenly dropped from the sky. Then more iron plates began crashing down one after another. In the end, the entire kingdom was completely sealed in from all sides. Luli and the others were instantly on guard. Was this some kind of trap? Afe could not help blurting out. That wall has to be 50 or 60 meters high, right? Why does this suddenly feel like some manga setup? Don't tell me giant man-eaters are about to show up too? Just then, a massive screen suddenly appeared in the sky. Testing, can everyone hear me? Sir, the projection and amplification are working fine. You can speak directly. Excellent. Greetings, brave warriors. I am the organizer of this event. First, let me briefly explain the reason behind all this. 18 years ago, on a beautiful spring day, our wise and glorious king welcomed the birth of a princess. Sir, a shorter summary would be enough, right? As the princess grew older, she began to reveal her breathtaking beauty. Sir, Lunch starts in 2 minutes. Later, the princess was abducted by an evil dragon, and now we need a true hero to rescue her. There are currently 10,000 participants. Each person begins with one hero's crest, and from here on, your job is to gather as many as possible. The event will last 7 days. At the end, only 100 warriors will advance. There are 3 ways to obtain heroes' crests. The first is the simplest. They're scattered across different areas, so you can just go find them. The second is by killing monsters. The stronger the monster, the more heroes' crests it drops. And the most efficient method is to take them from other players directly. Everyone can see the number of heroes' crests above everyone else's head. Sir, your soup's getting cold. Right. That concludes the rules. The event officially begins now. Brave warriors, good luck, Lu Li spoke calmly. Let's move first. We can discuss strategy while walking. But just then, 3 people approached them head-on. Hey, want to team up? I'm planning to build a 100-man group. If we do that, qualifying is basically guaranteed. Lu Li brushed right past them. Sorry, not interested for now. The man immediately got furious. Arrogant bastard. Once I built my team, if we run into each other again, you're gonna regret it. Faye muttered as he looked back. Second brother. What that guy said kinda made sense though, didn't it? Lu Li replied in an even tone. Numbers don't automatically mean advantage. No matter how many fish there are, they're still prey. And no matter how few sharks there are, they're still hunters. After that, the 3 of them officially began their journey of farming monsters and collecting heroes' crests. It did not take long before each of them had already gathered a few. Then a huge monster suddenly appeared in the distance, and Fei immediately held out an arm in front of Lu Li. Second brother, this one's mine. The next second, he launched a fireball straight at it. But to everyone's surprise, another person suddenly appeared nearby and started attacking the same monster too. In the end, Fei only got half the hero's crests, which made him furious. Where the hell did this bandit come from? You looking for trouble? To his surprise, the other person turned out to be a girl, and she had an even hotter temper than he did. What'd you say? I stole from you? I spotted it first. Thank you very much. The moment she finished speaking, she charged straight at Fei. Fei immediately turned and ran. A real man doesn't fight women. Let's talk this out. But the only answer Fei got was a whole string of fireballs flying straight at his face. Fei nearly lost it on the spot. Second brother, help me. In the very next second, Lu Li's blade was already resting against the girl's neck. The girl's face darkened immediately. You steal my monster, then gang up on me too? You really think I've got nobody backing me up? Then she took a huge breath and shouted at the top of her lungs, Sis, somebody's bullying your little sister! Right after that, a figure silently appeared behind Fei. Seeing that, Luna instantly drew her sword. Fei, watch out! But before anyone could react, Fei had already been lifted off the ground with one hand, while Luna had her wrist seized at the same time. In an instant, the entire scene fell silent. Seeing that Fei was almost choking, Luna tore her wrist free and immediately activated the new skill she had just learned. Then she followed it up with an incredibly fast horizontal slash, but the woman handled it all with ease, dodging every single attack like it was nothing. A moment later, the two clashed head-on with brutal force. In the end, Luna was still slightly outmatched and got knocked back several meters. Only then did she realize this woman was not just absurdly fast, but frighteningly strong too. The only thing Luna could do was keep pressuring her and hope to force out a mistake. So Luna immediately unleashed a ranged skill, Moonring. Just as expected, the woman used another bouncing dodge to slip away, but that airtime became Luna's opening. Luna instantly chased in with her sword. The woman realized at once that she had no room left to dodge, but in the very next second, she directly yanked Fei over and used him as a human shield, forcing Luna to stop cold. In that tiny moment of hesitation, the woman spun and unleashed a sweeping strike. Luna was blown away on the spot, and only Lu Li's quick reaction kept her from crashing hard. At that moment, the little girl Lu Li was holding bragged smugly. Why don't you let me go already? My sister used to be a professional player. Even the 3 of you together aren't a match for her. Luna, however, tightened her grip on her sword again, clearly ready to go another round. The woman just waved a hand. Little sister, your mechanics are good, but you're still not my opponent. Send that man over. I want to fight him. Lu Li could see it too. This woman was clearly stronger than Luna, so he handed the little girl over to Luna and stepped forward himself. The woman casually trapped Fei in place with dungeon lock, then smiled at the approaching Lu Li. Not bad. A decisive man. 10 extra points for that. Then the two of them both settled into their stances. In the next instant, the air filled with one violent clash after another. At last, both of them unleashed their strongest strike at nearly the same time. A terrifying burst of force exploded in the next second. Fei stared in shock. He genuinely had not expected this woman to be able to fight his second brother to a standstill. Even the little girl looked stunned. This is the first person who's managed to exchange this many moves with Big Sis. If this keeps going, then Big Sis might actually. But even then, the two of them were still exchanging blows non-stop. Then, out of nowhere, the woman suddenly stopped fighting on her own. You're good. Another 10 points for you. Let me ask you something. Can you accept a girl who's taller than you? Lu Li froze on the spot. What? The little girl looked completely helpless. Big Sis, didn't we agree you weren't going to do online dating anymore? The woman shot back without a hint of shame. That was before I met him. My sixth sense is telling me there's no way I can let this one go. The moment she finished speaking, she slammed a fist into the ground and unleashed seismic wave, instantly tearing a huge crack across the earth. Handsome, want to have a sweet little romance with me? Lu Li looked utterly speechless. Are you seriously messing with me right now? Can we please just have a proper fight first? As he said that, he slipped through the opening between her attacks and slid straight to Ah Fei's side. In the next instant, he smashed the cage, trapping Ah Fei with a single strike. Ah Fei, however, said with total sincerity, "Second brother, yeah, she beat me up just now, but a girl this proactive really does suit someone like you who's never dated before." The woman's eyes instantly lit up. What? Never dated before? That's an automatic extra 100 points. My heart's beating so fast right now. I feel like Cupid himself just shot me. The little girl suddenly shouted, "Sis, stop acting love-struck for a second. You really did get shot." Only then did the woman snap back to reality. No wonder my chest's been hurting a little. At the same time, a whole new group of people began surrounding them from deep within the forest. Just from the numbers above their heads, it was obvious these were the kind of players who made a living by robbing others. The woman instantly flew into a rage. You dare ruin my moment? Meanwhile, the little girl looked speechless. Sis, can you maybe save your actual little sister first? At the same time, Lu Li was already signaling Ah Fei to pass Luna a cue so they could look for a way to break out. But just as the bandit leader was about to order everyone to attack, a blinding red light suddenly exploded in the distance. Then that red glow spread outward at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the end, it swallowed the entire area they were standing in. The group of robbers panicked at once. This can't be their skill, can it? Right then, that massive screen from before appeared high in the sky again. Brave warriors, in order to test the sincerity of your hearts, the king has decided to increase the difficulty of the selection from this moment onward. Starting now, red and blue zones will begin appearing randomly throughout the kingdom. If you enter a blue zone, congratulations, you may receive stat boosts, rare equipment, and other rewards. But if you step into a red zone, then unfortunately, you may face death bombardments, distorted space-time, and other punishments at any moment. That concludes the rules. Good luck. The bandits immediately fell into chaos. We're standing in the red zone right now, aren't we? Run! We've got to get out first. But before they could move, beams of red light had already landed precisely on every one of them. A system notification rang out. This round's punishment is distorted space-time. You will now be randomly teleported to some location within the kingdom. Lu Li made a decision immediately. There's a good chance we won't end up in the same place. For now, gather as many heroes' crests as you can, then regroup in the central region. In the next second, the punishment teleportation activated. Ah, Fei never would have imagined that he'd get teleported together with that spicy little firecracker. He figured he might as well try to ease the tension, so he started making awkward small talk the whole way. But just when he thought the atmosphere had finally softened a bit, Little Chili launched a sneak attack without any warning. Little Chili cursed. You little bastard, trying to suck up to me? Since you landed in my hands, you can die in peace. Ah, Fei was instantly speechless. So all that explaining I did was just me talking to a brick wall? Can't we just talk this out like normal people? But Little Chili ignored him completely and charged with her blade raised. Unless you hand over all your heroes' crests, don't expect me to have a nice talk with you. Just as she was about to reach him, Ah Fei suddenly threw up a hand. Wait, isn't your sister interested in my brother? So how about the two of us trade some information instead? Little Chili froze on the spot. Trade information? Huh, I guess that's not impossible. Sis would definitely be happy about that. And just like that, the two of them somehow ended up gossiping together. Seeing that it was getting late, Ah Fei suggested they go find Little Chili's older sister first, but she waved it off. No need. If we find your brother, we'll find my sister too. Weirdly enough, Ah Fei thought that actually made a lot of sense. Meanwhile, the woman had already cleaned out every bandit she ran into along the way. She grumbled to herself as she walked. Damn those idiots for ruining my big moment. I didn't even get to ask what his name was. Though it's definitely got to sound nice. Even our future kids would need good names. On the other side, Lu Li was having a much rougher time. He had apparently run into someone pretty tough, and it even looked like he had taken a bit of a hit. As for Luna, she had been teleported to the edge of a lake. Her map and communications were both disabled, which meant regrouping with the others anytime soon was probably impossible. Luna murmured to herself, a trace of loneliness in her voice. So I'm alone again. Meanwhile, on the other side of the forest, a boss with 999 heroes' crests above its head suddenly appeared. Except it was not a real boss at all. It was Lu Li, who had decided after being randomly teleported to collect heroes' crests like crazy first, then reunite with Ah Fei and the others later. He immediately activated the active skill on his clothing equipment, Conceal, and vanished into invisibility on the spot. Whether it was savage monster packs, temporary teams of players, or even overpowered rangers, every last one of them got sent straight to meet their ancestors. But as the competition dragged into its later stages, low-level monsters became rarer and rarer, while the players who were still alive were clearly no pushovers either. So Lu Li decisively changed tactics and started camping people who had just finished off monsters or were already worn down after fighting other players. At the same time, the high-level player young Master Han was busy farming elite monsters with the girl by his side. With one strike of Wave Hunt Slash, he ended the fight instantly. The girl immediately wrapped herself around his arm with starry eyes. "Young Master Han, you're amazing. You killed that elite monster so easily." And Han was obviously loving every second of the admiration. What neither of them realized was that a figure was already creeping silently toward them from behind. The moment that figure burst forward to strike, young Master Han suddenly caught the sound. In the very next second, he shoved the girl beside him forward and used her to block the fatal sneak attack for him. And the one attacking was Lu Li. He looked thoroughly disgusted. One second you're acting all lovey-dovey, the next second you're using her as a shield. You really are a piece of trash. Then Lu Li blurred forward again. "Scum like you deserves a few extra cuts." Young Master Han immediately slashed out several waves of sword aura and shouted, "Do you even know who I am?" But Lu Li instantly appeared behind him, his voice cold. "I don't care who you are. You're still going down." Young Master Han spun around and swung, but all he hit was empty air. Just as confusion flooded his face, and he had no idea where Lu Li had gone. Lu Li unleashed 108 slashes in a single instant and killed him on the spot. But just when Lu Li allowed himself the slightest drop in vigilance, a sudden round of applause sounded from not far away. "Impressive. Very impressive." Lu Li's heart jolted. Since when had there been another person here? And how had he not sensed them at all? The stranger stepped out with a smile. "He was originally my prey. But since you stole him from me, then I guess you'll have to become my new prey instead." The two of them stopped wasting words and threw themselves straight into the fight. Every single move that man used was ferocious, but Lu Li blocked them all one by one. Instead of getting frustrated, the guy only got more excited as the fight went on. "Good. Very good. This is perfect. It's been a long time since I've fought this freely. I've got to say, you're amazing." Lu Li blasted him back with a rending burst blade. "Are you always this chatty?" But the other man casually flicked out a sword strike and shattered Lu Li's attack. "Too bad. Your skills are still lacking. So now let me show you what my skills can do." The moment he finished speaking, a giant wolf head suddenly materialized behind him. "Secret art! Wolf howl!" In the next second, a violent surge of energy erupted from the wolf's mouth. Even so, Lu Li still managed to block the attack head-on. The man only grew more thrilled. "You're strong. Really strong. But I'm stronger." Even Lu Li had to admit it inwardly. This was the strongest opponent he had met so far. The problem was that the guy did not have a single hero's crest above his head, which meant even beating him would gain Lu Li nothing. "Hey, I'm Mad Wolf. Tell me your name." Lu Li answered flatly, "Zhan Yu." Mad Wolf immediately broke into a grin. "Figures. That name suits you. Zhan Yu. Good. Then let's really have ourselves a fight." For a while, the two of them were completely evenly matched, and Mad Wolf still had no points on him, so Lu Li started thinking about shaking him off instead. But Mad Wolf stuck to him like glue and simply refused to let him go. Then the two of them smashed into each other with another heavy clash. The impact exploded with a thunderous boom. Even a squad in the distance was drawn in by the noise and looked up at the battlefield. Their captain raised a hand and gave a calm order. "All units halt. Hold position." The entire team stopped in perfect unison at once. One look was enough to tell they were highly disciplined. Then the captain spoke again. "Third brother, go bring fourth brother back. Did that idiot run off and start trouble again?" Third brother replied immediately. "Yes, big brother." Meanwhile, Lu Li and Mad Wolf had already turned everything within several miles into flat wasteland. Mad Wolf was still grinning like crazy. "Zhan Yu, you're one hell of an opponent. It's been ages since I've had a fight this satisfying." But at that moment, Lu Li suddenly noticed something that gave him hope. After fighting for this long, Mad Wolf was finally starting to show openings. It looked like his stamina might be giving out. Lu Li immediately tried to seize the opportunity and finish him off. But strangely enough, even though the openings were clearly there, he still could not land a truly fatal blow. The more Lu Li fought, the more wrong it felt. Why was Mad Wolf's combat power rising even as his health bar kept dropping? Just then, Mad Wolf charged up and swung out a brutal strike at Lu Li. The force behind it was terrifying. It blasted Lu Li far into the distance, and he only came to a stop after smashing through several trees. Lu Li wiped the blood from his mouth and said coldly, "So those openings you showed on purpose were traps?" Mad Wolf burst into laughter. "As expected of you. You figured it out that fast. In that case, there's no point hiding it anymore. My passive skill is called Bloodbath Anthem. For every 1% of health I lose, my attack power rises by 1% too." The moment he finished speaking, Mad Wolf lunged again, fighting in a pure trade blood for kill style. This time, Lu Li stopped trying to meet him head on. He had finally seen through the truth. Mad Wolf was not some brainless brute at all. He was a schemer, and a dangerous one. Just like that, one chased while the other retreated, and before long, the two of them had fought their way straight into a pack of monsters. Right then, Lu Li suddenly came to a stop. Finally found it. The moment he said that, he directly activated Hunter's Edge. Mad Wolf, who had been chasing right behind him, was instantly startled. Hunter's Edge? So you were looking for a monster pack this whole time just to set this up? By then, Lu Li had already stacked the combo all the way to the 26th hit. For the final strike, he slashed straight at Mad Wolf. He had believed that with 26 layers of damage stacked, that blow should have been enough to finish Mad Wolf off. But when the dust cleared, Mad Wolf was still standing there completely unharmed. Lu Li's eyes narrowed. "You actually broke my skill?" Mad Wolf grinned. "I didn't expect you to have the same kind of skill as that real-world boss either." At that moment, he remembered what his big brother had told him before. If you ever run into that real-world boss, watch out for the skill Hunter's Edge. The key to breaking it is to interrupt the combo chain by force. The person hiding in the tree sneered to himself. "Looks like this was your trump card, huh? In that case, Zhan Yu, this fight is already yours to lose." But there was still no panic on Lu Li's face. "Don't celebrate too early. To you, this might just be a game. To me, losing isn't an option." The moment those words fell, Lu Li's aura suddenly surged again. Even Mad Wolf had not expected him to still have another card left to play. Mad Wolf's eyes lit up with excitement. "This is perfect! My blood's boiling! Come on, Zhan Yu!" But what neither of them knew was that someone was crouched on a tree in the distance, drawing a bow to full tension and aiming straight at Lu Li. "Sorry, fourth brother. We're short on time, so let third brother lend you a hand." In the next second, an arrow shot through the air like a bolt of lightning. Lu Li had no time to dodge, and it pierced straight through his shoulder. Mad Wolf immediately spun around in fury. Who the hell dares to interfere? Wait, you? Then he spent exactly 0.01 seconds thinking. After that, he actually lunged in front of the arrow and hit Lu Li with Wolf Block. Lu Li's body was instantly blasted backward out of control. In the next moment, he fell straight into the raging river below the cliff. Third brother, the one who had fired the arrow from afar, looked puzzled. "Fourth brother, why is your hero's crest count still 0? Don't tell me that guy didn't die? You didn't let him go on purpose, did you? Otherwise, your last move should have been Wolf Strike, not Wolf Block. If you really don't want this roasted beak beast meat, then third brother won't mind helping himself." But Mad Wolf instantly slashed back at him and said coldly, "He's my prey. Don't touch him." Third brother immediately waved it off. All right. I was joking. Big brother's waiting for us. Let's go." But Mad Wolf kept staring at the river below the cliff, deep in thought. "Zhan Yu, this time we didn't get a proper winner. Next time, I'll find a place with no one around, and we'll fight this out for real." At the same time, over on Ah Fei and Little Chili's side, the two of them had somehow started gossiping about Lu Li the whole way. "Seriously? Your brother's really that rich? Then my sister definitely can't let him slip away." But right then, a rustling sound suddenly came from the bushes ahead. In the next second, a goblin charged out. Ah Fei immediately stepped in front of Little Chili. "Watch out! I'll take care of this one." But before he even finished speaking, Little Chili shoved him aside. "Get behind me!" Then she raised a hand and unleashed a small tornado, instantly sending the goblin flying and half roasting it in the process. Little Chili clapped her hands with an easy grin. "Done? Huh? Where are you sitting on the ground?" Ah Fei coughed awkwardly. "Slippery ground. Super slippery." At that point, Little Chili leaned in again. "So, where were we in that conversation?" Fei waved it off. "Forget about them for now. By the way, are you still in school?" "Nope, just graduated from college." Right then, another wave of small monsters showed up ahead, and somehow the two of them kept chatting while fighting. "So what was your major?" "Animation." "Animation? Seriously? I love that stuff. I'm jealous of people who actually get to work in the field they like." But this time, Little Chili's tone suddenly changed. "Back then, I got into college fueled by pure passion for animation. But after graduating, I realized that watching animation and making animation are two completely different things. 1 second of animation takes 8 to 12 drawings. 10 minutes means over 7,000 frames. And each drawing is only worth a few bucks. By the time you're done killing yourself over it, you might as well have sold fried rice on the street. Only then did Afe realize he had probably stumbled into a topic he should not have touched. He hurried to smooth things over. Yeah, it sounds rough. But without people like you, we wouldn't get all those amazing shows to watch. Little Chili did not respond. She just silently cremated the goblin in her hand on the spot. After that, the two of them fell into an awkward silence. Faye had never imagined that his usual flirt talk playbook would fail him so badly. Just as he was desperately trying to think of something to say, a giant mermaid suddenly appeared up ahead. Faye's eyes lit up instantly. A big boss with 300 heroes' crests over its head? Jackpot! But when the mermaid turned around, both of them sucked in a sharp breath. Its lower body was riddled with grotesque holes. Then it opened its mouth wide and let out an ear-piercing screech. Faye and Little Chili were both knocked out cold on the spot. After that, the mermaid started moving all 10 fingers at once and cast a skill called phenomenon stitching. In the next second, Faye and Little Chili were literally stitched together into one body. When they opened their eyes again, they still had no clue what had happened, and both of them blurted out at the same time, "Where is this? Little Chili? Where are you? Faye, where are you? Why do I feel like you're super close, but I still can't see you?" At that moment, the boss slowly rose out of the water, wearing a creepy smile. "Do you like the new outfit I made for you? What the hell did you do to us?" The mermaid laughed darkly. "Well, the new year's coming, isn't it? So I made you a lovely new outfit. Don't you think you look prettier this way?" Just then, a massive splash erupted beside the boss. Then another creature crawled out of the water. Something so disgusting it made their skin crawl just looking at it. Faye's scalp went numb. What the hell is that thing supposed to be? Forget this. Let's run first. But the second they tried to move, their shared body flopped straight into the water. What is going on? Why won't this body listen to us? Only then did the two of them both look down at their hands and finally realize it. Wait, are we sharing one body right now? Faye instinctively reached a hand toward the chest area. In the very next second, Little Chili slapped it away. Where do you think you're putting that hand? You want to die? Faye immediately apologized in panic. Sorry. I swear that wasn't on purpose. The boss chuckled from the side. Stop arguing. Just come over here already. In the next instant, the two of them felt a powerful suction dragging them straight toward the boss. They immediately tried to move backward, but their thoughts were totally out of sync. One wanted to go left, the other wanted to go right, and they ended up crashing to the ground again. Even so, the distance between them and the boss kept shrinking. Faye panicked. Think of something. I got it. Don't move around. This time, let me control the body. The moment he said that, fire burst from Afe's palm as he tried to use the recoil to push them backward. Seeing that, the boss instantly activated a skill, trying to snuff out the flames in Afe's palm by force. In the next second, countless jets of water came crashing toward them from all directions. Little Chili yelled in panic, "Move! Why are you still frozen there?" In a panic, Little Chili also blasted fire out of her palm, but because the force from both sides was completely out of sync, their shared body immediately started spinning in midair. By pure luck, though, that weird spin actually helped them dodge the attack by a hair and create some distance. Little Chili immediately shot Afe a disgusted look. "Your reactions are way too slow. This time, I'm taking control of the body." The moment she said that, fire burst from her palm and launched them upward. Then she slammed the boss with a meteor of fire. The hit landed cleanly, and the boss was visibly damaged. But in the next instant, it whipped up a wall of water and forcefully blocked the follow-up flames. The boss let out a sinister laugh. "Stubborn little insects. I'll kill you first, then stitch you together with that obedient child." As soon as it finished speaking, several more water pillars blasted toward them at once. They were still suspended in the air, with nowhere to dodge, so they could only take the attack head-on. Right after that, the two of them were trapped inside a giant water bubble. They both knew it. If this kept going, they were dead. Then Afe suddenly shouted, "Give me your hand. This time, we coordinate first before we move." After pressing both hands together, Afe gritted his teeth and finished the chant. Great flame burst. In the very next second, the bubble imprisoning them exploded into pieces. The two of them finally broke free. Afe roared on the spot. "Now we counterattack." Seeing that, the boss immediately cast phenomenon stitching again. But this time, Afe and Little Chili had finally learned how to coordinate, and they dodged every attack. swaying left and right in a rhythm that weirdly looked like dancing. Then Afe actually had the game sprite play music, and the two of them launched into a chaotic but somehow synchronized waltz on the water. To everyone's shock, as their movements and flames kept intertwining, they eventually whipped up a massive fire tornado. The boss screamed in terror. "No! No, no, no! Don't!" But in the next second, it was completely swallowed by the raging flames anyway, and when the fire finally dispersed, Afe and Little Chili found that their bodies had somehow separated again. At the same time elsewhere, the super boss that had Luna in its grasp suddenly froze, then let out a deafening roar. "Who killed my child? I'll find them no matter what." Through Afe and Little Chili's teamwork, they successfully killed the boss that had attacked them, and to their surprise, it even dropped 2 epic pieces of equipment. After that, Afe passed all the information he had pieced together to Little Chili through hand-to-hand contact, but the instant their fingers touched, both of them jolted, as if they had been electrocuted. Little Chili's face turned red at once, and she awkwardly changed the subject. "I wonder how things are going between my sister and your brother right now." At the same time, the violent woman who had been chasing Luli's scent finally caught the trace of him in the air. "What a nice smell. I wonder how happy he'll be when he sees me again." But when she followed that scent all the way to the end, all she found was the edge of a cliff. In an instant, a terrible feeling rose in her heart. "Don't tell me my destined man is gone?" Her fury exploded sky high. In the next second, she stomped and shattered the rock at the cliff's edge, growling through gritted teeth. "I don't care who did it. I will make them pay the most painful price possible." At the same time, Mad Wolf, who had just taken down a major boss, suddenly sneezed. He frowned at once. "Why do I suddenly feel a chill running down my back?" Meanwhile, Big Brother's group had also spotted a 500-point dog-headed boss. Mad Wolf immediately moved to follow, his eyes full of excitement. "A 500-point boss. I wonder which one's stronger, that thing or Zhang Yu?" As for Lu Li, he had already reverted to his monster form and was floating helplessly on the water. He was actually awake the whole time. He just could not move at all. Ever since falling off that cliff, he had been paying close attention to what was happening on the surface of the lake. But what he never expected was that the real attacker would come from inside the lake itself, a creature that lunged at him from behind. At first, he thought it was just some minor mob and slapped it dead with one hit. But in less than a minute, his whole body started going numb until he lost all feeling. In a panic, he could only force himself back into skeleton form, barely avoiding being swarmed by the surrounding monsters. But just then, a huge whirlpool suddenly formed on the lake and dragged him straight down. When he woke up again, he found himself inside an underwater cavern. Luckily, this time his body could finally move again. Then he noticed something strange. Those countless small tunnels in front of him looked as if some giant creature had dug through them by force. He immediately downed a recovery potion and muttered to himself, "I need to get out of here fast. If that thing comes back, I'm dead for sure." He followed the cave passage forward and eventually spotted an eerie glow in the distance. When he got closer, he realized it was coming from countless giant eggs glowing with a sickly green light. Then, all of a sudden, he saw a sword lying in the distance. He picked it up, and it was Luna's sword. "Don't tell me." He immediately swept aside the nearby eggs, and sure enough, Luna was inside one of them. Lu Li instantly shifted back into human form and pulled her into his arms. Luna slowly opened her eyes at that moment, but in the very next second, she suddenly screamed, "Zhang Yu, watch out!" Charging at them was none other than that same 999-point boss. The cave boss came roaring straight at Lu Li and Luna. Lu Li instantly brought up his dagger to block, but the impact felt like getting hit head-on by a heavy truck, as if every bone in his body was about to shatter. Then several of the boss's other arms swung down at them too. Lu Li made the call instantly and unleashed Rending Burst Blade, slicing one of the arms clean off. Using that opening, he immediately widened the distance and asked in a low voice, "How did you end up running into this thing?" Luna could only shake her head. "I can't remember." At that moment, the boss suddenly spoke in a deep voice. "You dared steal my child. I'll tear you to pieces." Lu Li let out a cold laugh. "We'll see who tears apart who. If we kill it, we qualify. From here on out, it all comes down to how well we work together." The moment he finished speaking, both of them rushed the boss at the same time. Luna took the front, opening with Starglow Slash and forcibly drawing the boss's aggro. Meanwhile, Lu Li circled around to its back and started unloading attacks. But under pressure from both sides, the boss suddenly leapt upward and vanished into the maze-like tunnels above. Lu Li's face changed immediately. "We can't let it get away. These caves branch everywhere. If we lose it now, catching it again will be a nightmare." Right then, the ground suddenly began to shake violently. In the next instant, a sharp earth spike shot out of the ground, but luckily the two of them dodged in advance. Then the spike quickly retracted back underground, and Lu Li frowned. "This thing's attack speed is insane, but now that we're split up, if it goes after one of us, the other can punish it. That actually works in our favor. At that moment, the ground beneath Luna started trembling again. It's on my side. In the next second, she raised her sword and blocked the spike that burst up at her. Now! Lu Li lunged in at full speed and slashed straight through a gap in its scales, instantly cutting the spike in half. A shrill howl burst out from underground, and then the boss erupted from below. I'll kill both of you! After that, it smashed the ground with a heavy blow, and the entire floor started cracking apart in waves, with the fractures racing toward Lu Li and Luna. Luna failed to dodge in time and was hit hard by a massive flying boulder. Lu Li immediately flashed to her side and caught her. Step back and recover first. I'll keep it busy. With that, Lu Li charged in alone, struggling to hold off the boss amid the treacherous, collapsing terrain. It was only after a while that Luna, having recovered, rejoined the fight, and the two of them successfully flanked it from both sides once more. After 2 hours of grueling combat, most of the boss's arms had already been hacked to pieces, but just as they were about to finish it off, the boss suddenly burst into laughter. Ignorant little insects, you really thought this was over? Then it grabbed one of the nearby giant eggs and swallowed all the fluid inside in one gulp. Lu Li and Luna both changed expressions at once. Damn it, stop it! But they were already too late. In the very next second, the boss's wounds healed instantly, and it recovered all the way back to full condition. Then it let out another ear-piercing scream. The two of them had no time to defend and were instantly struck with temporary deafness. When Lu Li opened his eyes again, a chill ran down his spine, and cold sweat broke out across his back. Acting almost on instinct, he spun around and chopped off one of the boss's arms in a single slash. Then he scooped up Luna, who was still trapped in the illusion, and retreated at full speed. Once they reached a safe distance, Lu Li immediately pulled out his treasured illusion-breaking potion. As he fed it to Luna, he replayed the illusion in his head and felt a cold shiver. He had almost died in there for real. The truth was, the moment that monster let out that sudden scream, the world in front of Lu Li shifted instantly, and he found himself inside a quiet cafe, and seated right beside him was someone else, another version of himself. That other self lifted a cup of coffee and said calmly, "Deep down, you already know the answer." Lu Li rubbed his forehead and replied in a low voice, "As long as there's even the slightest bit of hope left, I'm not giving up." The other him shifted posture and said flatly, "Have you ever actually thought this through? It's been so long since Big Brother disappeared. If he were really still alive, would there be no news at all?" Lu Li shot back immediately. "How can you say there's no clue? At the very least, I learned from Wu Yu about infernal purgatory." The other him suddenly snapped his book shut. "You're obsessed to the point of madness. How long are you going to keep lying to yourself? You know better than anyone that it's all just code. If Big Brother saw you like this now, he'd be heartbroken. What you should really be doing is taking Afe and living a life that actually means something. Wake up. Think about your original dream again. Building an orphanage of your own. That's what you should really be doing." But at that very moment, Lu Li suddenly grabbed the throat of that other self. "Enough. You're nothing but a heart demon created by the monster. You can't shake me." With those words, he twisted hard, and the entire illusionary space shattered in an instant. Lu Li snapped awake at the final critical moment. At the same time, Luna slowly opened her eyes after drinking the illusion-breaking potion, tears already filling them as she rasped out a hoarse, "Mom." Yet the boss still had the nerve to sneer. Wouldn't it have been better to die peacefully inside a happy illusion? Why insist on coming back to suffer? Hearing that, Lu Li and Luna turned on it almost at the same time, fury in their eyes. "You're dead." In the next second, both of them lunged viciously at the creature. A relentless storm of slashes rained down so hard that the monster could barely even fight back. The creature was left full of disbelief. Normally, people who force themselves out of an illusion should end up weakened. So why were these two hitting even harder now? Seeing that it could not hold on much longer, it immediately reached toward one of the nearby eggs. But before it could even finish saying, "Trying to outlast me? Ridiculous." Luna's blade had already chopped that hand clean off. Still trying to eat eggs? The monster instantly realized that if this kept going, it was as good as dead. So it turned and tried to retreat back into the tunnel. But before it could slip inside, Lu Li burst out from the side and kicked it viciously into the air. The monster went completely blank. Why was it flying? Then Luna followed up with a fatal strike, and the creature completely lost consciousness and slammed into the ground. Lu Li and Luna slapped hands in celebration. Nice teamwork. The 999 points all went to me though. I'll help you make them up later. Luna waved it off. It's fine. Let's just get out of here. I really don't want to stay in a place like this any longer. But just then, a cold voice suddenly came from behind them. Trying to leave? Did you ask me first? Both of them stiffened in shock. Was that monster still alive? That made no sense. The points had already been credited, and right then, The belly of the dead monster lying on the ground began to bulge in a grotesque way. A claw suddenly ripped its way out through the stomach. Then a miniature version of the monster crawled out and said sinisterly, "So you're the ones who killed that old fossil? Then let me reward you with one thing. Death." Before the words had even fully landed, the little monster flashed straight in front of them. Luna did not even have time to react before it kicked her away with one blow. Lu Li instantly stepped in and met it head on. But in the next moment, the little monster suddenly spat out a stream of slime. Lu Li was blasted away on the spot and smashed hard into the rock wall. Only then did they finally see it clearly. The score above the little monster's head was an eye-searing 1998. The little creature casually dug at its ear, looking utterly contemptuous. "You two are way too weak." Lu Li and Luna did not bother wasting words. They charged again almost at the exact same time, moving so fast that only after images remained. But even then, the creature effortlessly caught both of their weapons in one hand. In the next second, Lu Li and Luna were thrown away again. The little monster actually looked bored now. "I'll give you one last chance to attack. I'm already getting tired of this." What it failed to notice was that Lu Li was quietly making hand signals, and Luna had already understood his meaning at once. Meanwhile, the creature just kept standing there smugly, showing off. In the next moment, Luna charged with her sword, and from the momentum alone, it was obvious she was going all out. At the same time, Lu Li silently circled around behind the creature. Yet the monster still dodged Luna's strike with effortless ease, then looked at her with open confusion. "That's your strongest move? Then I guess all that's left is to send you to your death." Just then, the moon wheel that had been knocked away suddenly curved back around, but the monster still managed to block it head on. What it never expected was Lu Li hiding right behind that returning strike. The monster instantly spat out a disgusting glob of venom, trying to catch him off guard. But in the next second, Lu Li unleashed backstab, blinked straight behind it, and slammed a vicious hit into its body. Staring at the wound on its back, Luna muttered, "That should have done it." But the monster suddenly snapped its fingers. In the distance, the eggs began leaking green energy, and all of it shot straight back into the creature. In the blink of an eye, it was fully restored. Lu Li and Luna were both stunned. This thing could heal from a distance too? Then how the hell were they supposed to kill it? Looking at the eggs scattered all over the ground, Lu Li's heart sank. At this rate, they'd get worn down to death before they ever won. Then the monster suddenly split into two bodies and lunged at Lu Li and Luna separately. Lu Li could tell the split form was weaker than the original, but even so, the fight was still brutal. Luna wasn't doing any better either. She was getting forced back over and over again. Lu Li was about to rush over and help, but Luna signaled for him not to worry. The next instant, she vanished deeper into the cave. At the same time, the monster in front of Lu Li launched another fierce attack. But what threw it off was the smile still hanging on Lu Li's face. In the next second, he activated Hunter's Edge. The monster assumed Lu Li was trying to destroy the eggs, so it didn't even bother stopping him. But soon, it realized something was wrong. Why is this bastard's damage getting stronger and stronger? Instantly enraged, it charged straight at him. "Stop right there!" But to its shock, Lu Li's attacks had already risen to the point where he could clash with it head-on as an equal. When the dust finally cleared, the monster was still alive. Even Lu Li was stunned. That had already been his strongest move. He immediately pulled out a recovery potion. One thought filled his mind. He had to kill it before it regenerated again. But right then, the monster suddenly pressed its palms together and growled with a cruel grin. "You still think you can use that move again? Dream on. 10,000-fold rebirth." In the very next second, the eggs around the area started cracking open one after another. Then countless smaller monsters burst out and instantly surrounded Lu Li from every direction. Trapped in the swarm, Lu Li could do nothing but keep swinging and killing without a single moment to breathe. Meanwhile, the other boss clone stood in the distance and watched leisurely, sneering, "So your skill becomes useless the moment it gets interrupted. Now let's see how you plan to survive getting worn down to death." Lu Li kept cutting down wave after wave of monsters, but his body was growing heavier and heavier. Even though the corpses were already piling up like a mountain, the tide still showed no sign of thinning out. In the end, Lu Li was completely swallowed by the horde. Thinking Lu Li was finally dead, the boss walked over, kicked the small monsters aside, and prepared to devour his corpse. But all that remained on the ground was Lu Li's clothing. The boss thought Lu Li had already been devoured by the swarm and roared in fury. "You little bastards dared steal my food? You've got a death wish." But what it failed to notice was one of the smaller monsters slowly rising to its feet. In the next second, that figure split again and created another clone. Right after that, it unleashed Hunter's Edge. And this time, the slash stacks built up even faster than before. The boss was scared out of its mind. "He's not dead? Even I can't block that many slashes. Stop him! Hurry up and stop him!" But it was already too late. The doubled slash stacks exploded all at once and erased the boss on the spot. A terrifying surge of power shot straight into the sky. Even at the end, the boss still couldn't believe it. How did he suddenly get this much stronger? The answer was simple. While Lu Li kept cutting down monsters, he had unknowingly leveled up to level 30. That was what activated the ring's hidden attribute and gave him a clone skill. Meanwhile, the other boss clone was already on its knees, trembling as it begged for mercy. "Please spare me. I'll serve you like a slave. Just let me live." Floating right in front of it, Luna answered with an icy voice. "Shut your mouth. Your only purpose now is to die." The next second, she slashed out a black crescent blade. Not long after that, the battle for the warriors contest finally came to an end. Everyone was gathered in front of the central gate. Above each person's head floated the score they had earned. At that moment, Ah Fei and the other two arrived as well. Little Chili's older sister slammed her hand on the table, her face changing instantly. "Something's off. You two don't look right." Little Chili immediately jumped up. "Sis, I'll go ask around about brother-in-law for you. You know who hurt him?" Ah, Fei froze. "What do you mean hurt him? What happened to my brother?" Full of guilt, she replied. "It's all my fault. I couldn't protect him. He must have run into trouble while coming to find me." Ah, Fei was completely dumbfounded. "No way. There's no way my second brother would lose to somebody like that." Her sister slapped Ah Fei on the shoulder and said with complete confidence, "Exactly. The man I picked is not dying young." Ah Fei nearly lost his soul on the spot. He could swear he had just heard one of his bones crack. "Second brother, save me," he wailed in his heart. Just then, a cough suddenly came from nearby. Everyone lit up at once. "Second brother!" Ah Fei shouted. "Hobby!" Hua Jiao cried out. Little Chili went speechless. "Sis, your imagination is moving way too fast." Once they came over, Luna immediately told Lu Li to put her down. But the moment the hot-tempered girl saw that scene, she nearly exploded. Little Chili hurried to calm her down. "Easy, easy, sis." But she walked straight up to Lu Li and declared with a serious face, "My name is Hua Jiao, nickname Hua Jiao. I'm your future soulmate wife." Everyone could only sigh in helpless frustration. This love-struck maniac is hopeless. Just then, a broadcast voice suddenly rang out from above. "Testing, testing. Can you all hear me?" A huge screen appeared in the sky, and the announcer continued, "Congratulations, warriors. Next, we will announce the top 100 finalists." The moment everyone saw the top of the ranking board, every last one of them was stunned speechless. First place had actually scored more than 5,000 points. That was insane. Just who the hell was that monster? At that moment, someone suddenly pointed into the distance and shouted, "It's them! Damn! Those are people from Dawn Guild!" Dawn Guild? Don't tell me you've never heard of them. Wow, you really are a total newbie. They're one of the top 3 guilds on the entire server. Their core members are basically all world-class players. No wonder they pulled off something like this. But who exactly is Zhang Yu? If it weren't for him, Dawn Guild probably would have taken all 5 top spots. I think it's that guy over there. Another person chimed in. Seriously? He doesn't even look that strong. Meanwhile, Lu Li and Fing Meng had already noticed each other. Then the host spoke again. Next, we will distribute the corresponding experience rewards. The moment he finished, quite a few players shot up several levels on the spot. As for Lu Li and his group, they jumped straight into the 30s. Looks like everyone is pretty satisfied with the rewards. But the warrior selection is not over yet. Next, please proceed to the second trial site. The second those words fell, everyone rushed into the portal in a frenzy. But to their surprise, after teleporting, they found themselves inside a massive hall filled with raised platforms. 5 people stood on each platform, but none of them were grouped with their original teammates anymore. Just as everyone was still confused, a beam of light suddenly shot up from the center of each platform. Then a box-headed figure appeared out of nowhere and said with a grin, "Warriors, I am the host of this competition. The rules for this round are simple. A murder mystery roleplay game. Each platform now forms a 5-person team, and the killer is hidden among the 5 of you. You must use clues and discussion to vote out the real murderer." Now let me explain the background story. The Empire's strongest hero was about to depart on a mission to slay a dragon and rescue the princess. But at the farewell banquet before his departure, he was murdered. After investigation, 5 suspects were identified. A is the hero's teammate. B is the daughter of the Grand Chancellor. C is the captain of the Royal Guard. D is the kingdom's foremost scholar. And E is the Empire's high priest. So what is the real truth in the end? Warriors, begin your performance. The moment the box-headed host gave the signal, everyone immediately started defending themselves. I spoke first. "I'm the hero's teammate, and I've been his brother since childhood. How could I possibly be the one who killed him? I'm obviously innocent. The killer has to be one of you. And just judging by appearances, the high priest doesn't look trustworthy at all. That's all for me." Next, then B began speaking. I am the Grand Chancellor's second daughter. The hero once saved my life, and ever since then, I've admired him deeply. Besides, I've been bedridden for years. How could I possibly have killed him? Also, one of the clues on my story card says that Captain C and the hero were on terrible terms. They had a fierce argument, and not long after that, the hero was killed. So I suspect he is the murderer. At that point, Lu Li, playing the role of C, spoke in a calm voice. I am the captain of the Royal Guard, responsible for the safety of everyone in the kingdom. The reason I argued with the hero was because I discovered that he wasn't some noble champion at all. He was nothing more than a shameless lecher. That's why I believed he was completely unfit to take on the mission of rescuing the princess. But I would never go against the king's will, and throughout the entire banquet, I remained by the king's side. Plenty of people here can testify to that. As for Lady B, her relationship with the hero clearly isn't as simple as she claims. She's hiding something, and I think all of you understand exactly what I'm implying. Then D, the cat girl, began her statement. I'm the one responsible for recording the kingdom's historical chronicles. I did interview the hero before, but our relationship was strictly professional. I was never the person closest to him, and during the hour before and after the murder, I was talking with other scholars the entire time. More importantly, the knife in the hero's chest was driven in horizontally. At a height of 4'9", there's no way I could have stabbed a 6'1" man like that. As for who the killer really is, I still can't say for sure yet, but I do suggest we vote out the idiots who clearly don't know how to play first. They're ruining everyone's judgment. Then the final speaker, Priest E, gave his account. I am the one in charge of the kingdom's ritual ceremonies. I originally intended to divine whether the journey would be fortunate or ominous, but what I saw instead was that the hero would die inside the palace. I immediately reported it to the king, but His Majesty ordered me to continue the ritual and pray for the hero's fate to be changed. So I rushed back to the altar and began the rite at once. Sadly, I was still too late. As for the murderer, I believe it must be someone truly formidable. Otherwise, they never would have slipped past my divination. At that point, the box-headed host summed things up. Now that all of you have finished your statements, it is time to vote for the person you believe is the killer. A moment later, everyone started pointing in different directions. In the end, O was voted out with a lead of 3 votes. O looked completely speechless. You've got to be kidding me. I'm one of the good guys. But he was still kicked out of the game. And when his identity was revealed, he turned out to be just a normal player. So the game had no choice but to continue. To move things along, the box-headed host spoke again. Next, each of you will receive 1 clue. However, one of those clues is fake. Then B, the Chancellor's second daughter, spoke first. While the king arranged for the priest to offer blessings, he also ordered Guard C to protect the hero. But sometimes the most obedient dog is the one most likely to bite. Then Lu Li gave his own clue. The high priest never left the altar for the entire night. And even now, B, you still haven't answered my question. What exactly are you hiding? Then Catgirl D followed up. B's obsession with the hero bordered on deranged. She stalked him repeatedly and even sent him threatening letters. If she couldn't have him, she'd rather destroy him. And during the banquet, you were the only one who left early. Finally, Priest E added, my clue is this. Catgirl D can be trusted. The box-headed host immediately announced, very well, this round of statements is over. Voting will now begin. Everyone cast their votes for the person they believed was the murderer. And in the end, B was successfully voted out. B instantly exploded in rage. Are all of you idiots? I'm obviously innocent. That Four Eyes has been targeting me the whole time. There's no way he's one of the good guys. But before she could finish speaking, she dropped straight down out of sight. To everyone's surprise, B's identity was also revealed to be just a normal player. The game was forced to continue. If the real killer was not found in this round, then the killer would win outright. The floor was now open for free discussion. At that moment, Lu Li calmly said, let me sum up the clues from rounds 1 and 2. But Catgirl D suddenly cut him off. No need. The killer is already obvious. First, about B voting her out was part of my plan, because the clue I received actually proved she was innocent. The moment she said that, both Lu Li and Priest E froze for a split second. Pushing up her glasses, Catgirl D continued in a cold voice. I only had one goal, to force the real murderer into the open. And now every trail leads straight to Guard Captain C. The proof is simple. Back when I accused B, every part involving C was completely made up on the spot. I did it to see whether you'd follow my lead and vote for me, but you didn't. Sure, you could argue that you just happened to dislike B, but your eyes didn't have that kind of emotion in them. Eyes don't lie. So tell me, what do you have left to say for yourself? Yet Lu Li simply sat down on the ground and said lazily, if you're done talking, then hurry up and vote. The host then turned to Priest E and asked whether he had anything to add. Priest E answered calmly, no. The box-headed host immediately declared, then the final result is about to be revealed. Who will walk away as the winner? To everyone's shock, Priest E cast his vote for Catgirl D, and even more shocking, the real murderer truly was Luli. Catgirl D instantly exploded in anger. E, what the hell are you doing? Why didn't you vote for him? Only then did Luli finally speak, completely unhurried. Because the answer people decide on in their hearts often feels more real than what their eyes actually see. From the moment you spoke in round 1, I knew someone as smart as you would eventually figure me out. But that confidence of yours was also your weakness. You relied on elimination. That meant A and B were always the most likely ones to get pushed out first. And as long as Priest E chose to trust me, I was guaranteed to win. Because every bit of E's voting logic was tied directly to the way he spoke in the first round. Only then did Catgirl D suddenly piece it together. E had voted for A first, then B. And just now, when Luli acted like he had already given up in a situation where she looked certain to win, it only pushed E into believing she was the truly dangerous one, the one most likely to be the killer. Once she understood everything, Catgirl D dropped to her knees in defeat. So that's how it was. I lost. Right after that, both Luli and Catgirl D fell from the platform, while the other groups also began reaching their own results one after another. At that moment, the others who had been scattered across the arena all started flying back toward Luli. Soon after, everyone was transported to the next stage. To their surprise, what appeared before them was a gigantic arena packed with people. The host's voice rang out again. Welcome, warriors, to the third selection round. This time, only the top 3 competitors will earn the right to receive the 3 legendary weapon socket gems offered by the king as rewards. The leader of Dawn Guild immediately laughed. This time, we're taking all top 3 spots. Every last one of them. Ah. Faye immediately leaned toward Luli and asked, are those gems really that valuable? Luli answered flatly, they're legendary grade materials. What do you think? Ah. Faye's eyes lit up on the spot, and even little Chili could only look at him in speechless disbelief. At that moment, the king raised his voice and declared, since everyone is this fired up, the competition officially begins now. The rules are simple. The 32 warriors who advanced will be randomly matched in one-on-one battles. Each winner moves on to the next round until a final champion is decided. And besides the gems I already mentioned, the champion's team will also be allowed to enter the royal treasury and choose one treasure of their own. The instant he finished speaking, the random matching began, and Luli and Afei's group quickly received their assigned numbers. But to everyone's surprise, Luli was the very first one to step onto the stage. And even more ridiculous, the moment he saw the figure standing across from him, it looked weirdly familiar. The opponent turned out to be the exact same player who had tried to use Luli as a stepping stone back in episode 1. Right now, that guy was still hyping himself up in his head. I've waited so long for this. My time to shine is finally here. Ever since I got one shot by that skeleton boss back then, I've trained like crazy and grinded monsters non-stop just to make it this far. I don't care who's standing in front of me today. He's becoming my stepping stone. But in the very next second, he only felt a blur flash past his side, then a chill across his neck. The player wailed in disbelief. No way. No way. I haven't even made my move yet. I didn't even get to use my insanely powerful fusion skill. Luli broke out in awkward sweat, looking completely speechless. Is this idiot here to compete or do stand-up? Meanwhile, below the stage, Dawn Guild's 3rd brother was quietly reporting to the guild leader. That's him. 4th brother and I tried before, and neither of us could kill him. The moment Mad Wolf heard that, his eyes lit up. He's mine. None of you are taking him from me. Right after that, Luna stepped onto the stage and erased her opponent almost instantly, advancing with ease. Ah, Faye was just as clean about it. One explosive flame attack, and the match was over. As for the hot-tempered brawler girl, there was even less to say. Nobody on her side could survive a single punch from her. At that point, Dawn Guild's leader stared at the brawler girl and asked 3rd brother in a low voice, so that's the one you said had an 80% chance? Yeah, 3rd brother nodded. That should be her. Just then, the younger girl, Diandian, slowly stepped forward. My turn. To everyone's surprise, her opponent turned out to be Little Chili. The two of them then slowly made their way onto the arena stage. Little Chili opened with a taunt. I heard you people are strong. Don't disappoint me. Diandian smiled faintly. For a little girl, you sure don't have much chest, but you do have a lot of attitude. Little Chili froze for a split second, then instantly blew up. Who the hell are you calling flat? With a furious shout, she lunged forward. You don't know a damn thing. Then she whipped up a flaming kick and lashed out hard. Let's see if I don't burn your clothes right off. But Diandian dodged the strike with ease. What no one expected was that Little Chili twisted midair and changed straight into a spinning follow-up attack, forcing Diandian backward. At that moment, one of Diandian's pant legs had already caught fire, but instead of panicking, she suddenly smiled. Interesting. Looks like I'll have to get serious. The next second, she summoned a flame spirit, and it shot straight at Little Chili. Little Chili instantly leaped backward while unleashing a burst of flames, trying to burn the flame spirit to death on the spot. But what she never expected was that the flame spirit, after touching the flames, absorbed them instead, then erupted violently and blasted Little Chili away before she could dodge. Seeing that, Afe immediately grew worried. At this rate, Little Chili's really going to lose. Standing on the arena stage, Diandian smiled faintly. Just surrender now and save yourself the pain. But there was no way Little Chili could swallow that kind of insult. She charged again on the spot. In the next instant, she actually formed a flaming tornado with her bare hands. The terrifying suction forced Diandian to immediately make the flame spirit shield her. Only by using that brief opening was she able to barely jump out of the tornado's range. But right then, Little Chili suddenly appeared behind her and shouted coldly, "You think that makes you safe?" With that, she unleashed her trump card. Great Flame Burst. The host was already about to declare Little Chili the winner when the brawler girl suddenly spoke up. "That woman isn't dead yet." Sure enough, Diandian was now covering one eye and glaring at Little Chili as she hissed, "Martial Soul Rotation!" In the very next second, Little Chili let out a piercing scream. At the same time, several summoned beasts appeared around Diandian. She stared at Little Chili coldly. "Now I'm actually serious. Are you ready?" But before anything else could happen, the badly injured Little Chili had already been carried off the stage by Afe and his sister. She never imagined she would lose this badly. A second later, she finally broke down and burst into tears, leaving everyone else at a loss for how to comfort her. With red eyes, Little Chili gritted her teeth and said, "I'm going to get stronger. I swear I will. And don't try to comfort me. I'm never letting anyone call me flat again." At that moment, Luli and Luna both looked toward Dawn Guild in the distance, their expressions darkening. That group really does look like trouble. Then the host loudly announced that the next fighter stepping up would be Dawn Guild's Mad Wolf. His opponent was completely outclassed. One casual slash was enough to send him flying off the stage. The following match belonged to the third-ranked member, Ghost Arrow. He casually loosed a single arrow. His opponent actually thought he could catch it, only for that arrow to split into several mid-air and turn him into a human pincushion on the spot. Then came the next match. The opponent hadn't even managed to see who had moved before a single strike blasted him away and ended the fight instantly. And the one who had swept the arena in one blow was none other than Dawn Guild's second-ranked monster, Thunderblade. Even more unexpectedly, when Dawn Guild's leader stepped onto the stage, he didn't actually fight his opponent at all. Instead, he practically gave the guy a live lesson, teaching him hand by hand how to use a blade. By the end, that player was so overwhelmed that he could only admit defeat and walk off the stage on his own. After seeing that, the morale of the other contestants completely collapsed. In the following matches, some of them even gave up without fighting. Watching all of this, Luli understood one thing clearly. The biggest obstacle in this tournament really was Dawn Guild. Right after that, the host announced the names of those who had advanced into the final bracket. And for the very last spot, it came down to Luna and Dawn Guild's fifth brother. The crowd below immediately started cheering for Luna. Fifth brother looked at her and sneered. "So you're that flat girl's teammate? Let's see what you're really worth." Luna replied calmly, "Why not try me and find out?" The moment she finished speaking, he summoned two pets at once. "Take this first." But Luna answered with a single starlight flash slash, and the blinding brilliance instantly forced him to shut his eyes. Using that opening, Luna slipped around to his flank in a flash. His reaction was fast. He immediately summoned a water shield to block her strike. Even though he barely managed to stop the attack, he had almost been killed on the spot. Even his hat was sliced open. The crowd below erupted in cheers the moment they saw that. But over on Dawn Guild's side, one of the members merely shook their head. Fifth brother was too careless. Only then did he realize Luna was far harder to deal with than he had expected. So he finally decided to stop holding back. In the next instant, a whole swarm of summoned beasts appeared around him, and at his command, they all charged straight at Luna. The first wave came as two coordinated attacks of water and fire, forcing Luna to leap into the air to avoid them. But the moment she rose off the ground, the real trap was already waiting. A dense barrage of skills covered the sky and sealed off every possible landing point. The instant Luna touched the ground again, she tried to pull back, but one of her legs was suddenly bound tight by wooden vines bursting from below. Right after that, giant stones erupted from the earth and slammed shut around her. In the blink of an eye, Luna was completely trapped inside a prison of stone. Seeing that, Fifth brother immediately laughed in triumph. "Looks like I'm still the stronger one after all." But Luli and the others only watched in silence, all thinking the same thing. Wasn't this guy celebrating way too early? Sure enough, just when Fifth brother thought victory was already in his hands, Luna suddenly shattered the stone prison with one slash and forced her way out. The next second, she burst forward again and launched another strike straight at him. Then a massive explosion shook the arena. But when the dust settled, Everyone saw that Luna's sword had been blocked just inches from his body. At the same time, the rest of his summoned beasts all surged forward together. Even Fifth Brother hadn't expected this fight to turn out so badly. That suffocating, hateful pressure was a feeling he hadn't experienced in a very long time. And in that moment, memories from his childhood suddenly resurfaced. Every time he went home, his parents were always fighting. Neither of them ever cared how he felt. To them, he was nothing more than a tool they could throw responsibility onto. And back then, he had been powerless to do anything about it. At school, things were no better. He was bullied constantly, and even his snacks were taken from him. Worse still, they had once stripped off his clothes and taken humiliating photos of him. In the end, he finally snapped and fought back, only for them to use those photos to twist the truth and make him look like the one at fault. From that moment on, the world felt no different from a jungle, where the weak were prey and the strong devoured them. If he wanted to survive, the only option was to become stronger himself. Later, he finally found a way to deal with what had happened at school. But even then, he discovered that the other side had only approached him to steal his power. And just like that, his whole world went gray. But right at that moment, a pair of hands suddenly reached out and grabbed him. The one who stepped in turned out to be a guy with an honest, almost simple-looking face. One of the lackeys nearby recognized that this group belonged to Dawn Guild. The moment he realized who they were, his face changed, and he hurried off with his tail between his legs. Then Dawn Guild's leader spoke with a half smile. "Little girl, I hear you're pretty damn good at this game. Ever thought about going pro?" The moment he heard that, a spark seemed to return to Fifth Brother's eyes. When he snapped back to reality, only one thought remained in his mind. He could not lose, and Dawn Guild definitely could not lose either. In the next second, he unleashed his finishing move, Five Beasts Assault. The power of the five elements erupted at once and roared straight toward Luna like a tidal wave. A deafening impact exploded across the arena. Even the solid arena platform was blasted open into a massive crater. The host was so shocked he blurted out, "Did contestant Luna just get blasted into dust?" Faye and the others were equally stunned. "No way!" But Lu Li only smiled faintly. "Look below the stage." Only then did everyone realize that Luna had dodged the fatal blow at the very last instant. Even Fifth Brother was left staring in disbelief. "She dodged that too?" Luna only smiled back. "Lucky me, I guess. But now, it's my turn." Fifth Brother immediately ordered all of his summoned creatures to attack together. Luna answered with Moon Spirit Sweep, blocking the incoming assault head-on. At the same time, she precisely manipulated the energy flow and forced the water and fire attacks to crash into each other, instantly filling the field with dense steam. Fifth Brother's vision was swallowed whole. He couldn't see a thing, and Luna seized that opening to unleash Starfall. Fifth Brother reacted fast and immediately summoned a water shield to defend himself, but his summoned beasts weren't nearly that lucky. They were smashed head-on by the attack. Right after that, Luna followed with another move, Greatsword Slash. Just as Fifth Brother focused all of his attention on defending against the frontal strike, Luna suddenly appeared behind him like a ghost and said with a light laugh, "Got you." In the next second, he took the hit clean, and the match was over. Fifth Brother stood there for a long time, unable to fully process the fact that he had lost. But then Luna reached out her hand to him. "I'm glad I got to fight you. That was an incredible match. I hope we get another chance to face each other someday." And just like that, the final top 8 had all been decided. Who would prove to be the strongest in the end? One thing was certain. Dawn Guild was making everyone watch them even more closely now. As soon as Luna and Fifth Brother's match ended, the staff immediately rushed in to start repairing the shattered arena. Faye and the others were naturally thrilled, crowding around Luna to celebrate her victory. But the one thing still on Luna's mind was the look on Fifth Brother's face. That guy probably carried a lot more than anyone realized. At that moment, Fifth Brother's eyes were already watering as he stammered, "I'm sorry, I lost. I'm not worthy of being part of Dawn anymore." But Dawn Guild's leader slowly reached out a hand. Instead of blaming him, he gently patted his head. "You already did well. Your talent isn't the issue. What you're lacking is experience. So instead of sitting here feeling sorry for yourself, go back and learn from this fight. Still, those people on the other side really are strong." Right after that, the host loudly announced that the arena had been repaired and the matchups would continue. What nobody expected was that the very first fight after that would be Lu Li versus Mad Wolf. Mad Wolf grinned, his eyes burning with excitement. "Zhan Yu, we finally get to have a real fight." The instant those words fell, the two of them crashed head-on into each other. The force of their collision was so terrifying that the freshly repaired arena cracked apart all over again. Even the host was speechless. This arena was just reinforced tenfold. By then, Lu Li and Mad Wolf were already exchanging blade strikes like maniacs. Mad Wolf landed one slash, Lu Li instantly answered with a brutal counter, and the fight escalated harder and harder with every exchange. Mad Wolf only grew more thrilled as he fought. "You've gotten way stronger since last time. But don't forget, I'm not the only one who's changed. In the next second, the two of them smashed into another violent clash that sent shockwaves roaring across the arena. Down below, Dawn Guild's leader actually laughed. No wonder fourth brother keeps wanting a shot at him. That guy's mechanics are seriously pro level. Faye and the others were just as stunned. I can't believe this guy can actually fight Lu Li to a standstill. Then Mad Wolf suddenly ripped off his already tattered shirt, the hunger in his eyes burning even fiercer. Warm-up's over. Now let's get serious. Lu Li didn't waste a word. He simply shrugged off his ornate coat and replied flatly, "Just what I wanted." The next instant, both of them cranked up the intensity again, and the battle pressure shot through the roof. But just as their weapons slammed into each other one more time, Mad Wolf suddenly let go of his own blade. Using the force of the impact, his weapon spun wildly on its own, forcing Lu Li to let go as well. Just like that, both of their weapons were sent flying into the distance. The host stared in disbelief. Don't tell me Mad Wolf is switching to hand-to-hand combat? And sure enough, Mad Wolf had already lowered himself into a boxing stance. In the next second, he hurled a savage punch at Lu Li, but Lu Li bent low and barely slipped under it. Yet right after that, Mad Wolf unleashed a brutal chain of hooks. In the middle of that chaos, Lu Li made one mistake and got blasted away by a heavy punch. But while still flying back, he planted a hand against the ground, exploded back up with a recoil, and snapped out a lightning-fast kick. Then, in one smooth motion, he drove a flying knee straight into Mad Wolf's face. The hit made Mad Wolf spit out several mouthfuls of blood on the spot. Right after that, the two of them went completely insane and traded hundreds of punches back to back. Then, all of a sudden, Lu Li's figure flickered several times as he retreated sharply backward. In the next instant, he exploded forward again, only for Mad Wolf to block him with ease and sneer. "What? You getting tired already?" Before the words had even finished leaving his mouth, Lu Li took another heavy hit head-on. But while being blasted backward, Lu Li was smiling. Mad Wolf instantly realized something was wrong. His expression changed, and he lunged forward at once. But by the time he understood that Lu Li's real goal had never been to keep trading with him, but to rush back and reclaim his weapon, it was already too late. Lu Li got to his blade first. In the next second, a cross-shaped slash tore straight through Mad Wolf's body, ripping him open in a spray of blood and leaving him looking like he was about to die on the spot. At that moment, the crowd below instantly exploded in cheers. Second brother won! Over on Dawn Guild's side, fifth brother couldn't help sighing. Fourth brother? He really lost just like that? But Dawn Guild's leader still wore a faint smile. That fourth brother of ours, no matter when, he's always like a real Mad Wolf. But no matter how wild he looks on the outside, underneath it all, there's always a cunning mind hiding in that madness. At the same time, Mad Wolf suddenly opened his eyes on the battlefield, and strange violet lightning flickered inside them. He bared his teeth in a dangerous grin. So close, Zhan Yu. That last strike almost took me down for real. But now, it's your turn to suffer. In the very next second, his aura exploded upward, erupting into a pressure several times greater than before. It turned out Mad Wolf had activated his passive skill, Bloodbath Him. For every 1% of health he lost, his attack power increased by 1%, which meant that right now, Mad Wolf's attack power had been boosted by a full 99%. Then he lifted a hand and pulled his sword back from the distance through the air, shouting at Lu Li, "Zhan Yu, are you ready to take my strongest sword yet?" Before the words had even settled, his figure vanished, and in the next instant, he was already in front of Lu Li, bringing his blade down in one savage slash. The strike came far too fast. Lu Li had no chance to evade and could only take it head-on. But in that same instant, Lu Li understood something clearly. He absolutely could not keep clashing with Mad Wolf head-on anymore. The problem was that Mad Wolf's offense gave him no breathing room at all. The sword attacks came like a storm, and Lu Li could do nothing but keep blocking. But Mad Wolf's power had become far too overwhelming. One strike actually hacked straight into Lu Li's shoulder. The next moment, the already damaged ground gave way completely, and the entire arena collapsed again. At this point, the host looked so numb he almost sounded dead inside, crying out, "Forget repairing the arena next time." As the dust slowly cleared, Mad Wolf's figure emerged once more, his voice low and savage. "What's wrong, Zhan Yu? Is dodging all you can do now?" Lu Li answered with a frontal slash of rending burst blade. But to Mad Wolf in his current state, that level of attack wasn't nearly enough anymore. Lu Li immediately followed up with backstab, his figure flashing in an instant. Even so, Mad Wolf still blasted him away with a backhand sword strike. Grinning viciously, he said, "You're too slow now. Let me show you what real speed looks like." As soon as the words fell, he bent his knees slightly and launched himself forward. In less than a blink, he was already right in front of Lu Li. The next second, the two of them tore straight from the ground into the air, clashing like madmen and exchanging well over 100 blows in the sky. At that point, the emotions below had completely flipped. Fei and the others were now the ones clenching their fists in worry for Lu Li. Meanwhile, Dawn Guild had already started smiling like the outcome was decided. Looks like this fight is over. Before long, the battlefield crashed back down from the sky to the ground, sending shattered rock and dirt flying in every direction. Mad Wolf slowly raised his head. His gaze locked onto Lu Li like a predator staring at prey. Zhan Yu, I'll admit it, you're worthy prey. But this is where it ends. The moment he finished speaking, he activated Hunt, a forced battle mark that made the chosen target unable to evade his attacks while also taking 20% more damage. Mad Wolf declared wildly, "Now you've got no choice but to eat this attack head on. So I'll finish you with my strongest strike. Ultimate skill, Mad Wolf." In an instant, the phantom of a gigantic wolf's head rose behind him, savage enough to look like it could swallow the entire battlefield whole. Yet Lu Li showed no trace of panic. Instead, he slowly lifted his head and smiled, saying, "It's been a long time since I've had a fight this satisfying." At the same time, a golden dagger slowly appeared in Lu Li's left hand. He lifted his eyes toward Mad Wolf, his voice calm but razor sharp. "In that case, I guess it's time for me to show my real strength too. I got this pair of daggers after killing the president of the Holy Light Society. One is called Zayuan, the other is Hidden Dragon. Every time Zayuan lands a hit, Hidden Dragon gains 1% more damage, stacking up to a maximum of 240%. So now, I'll greet you with the strongest strike I have." The moment he heard that, Mad Wolf burst into wild laughter. "Ha ha ha! Zhan Yu, you really are the prey fate picked for me. Enough talking. Once this move comes down, we'll see who's stronger for real." In the next second, both men exploded forward and slammed into each other with the full force of their strongest attacks. The violent energy shockwave tore across the entire arena and made the whole place tremble. Then the impact shot straight into the sky, while the aftershocks blasted outward in every direction. The host was already hiding behind cover, yelling at the top of his lungs, "Quick, somebody check who won!" When the dust finally settled, a gigantic crater had appeared in the middle of the arena. Mad Wolf was sprawled across a shattered stone pillar, while Lu Li stood firmly atop another one. The result was obvious. Lu Li had won. Seeing that, even Dawn Guild's members had trouble accepting it. Fourth Brother used his ultimate move and still lost, but the guild leader narrowed his eyes and analyzed calmly. If we're talking pure explosive power, Fourth Brother's attack was actually stronger. The problem is that he pushed his HP too low and obsessed over stacking damage, which forced his own body to the limit. As for this Zhan Yu, he still looks like he's holding something back. Now that's interesting. By then, Lu Li had already walked over to Mad Wolf and helped him up with a grin. "That's satisfying enough for you? Once you recover, we're definitely doing this again." Mad Wolf spat out a mouthful of blood and laughed even harder. "That was the best fight I've had since entering this game." Then he stared at Lu Li and asked, "So, any interest in joining our guild?" Lu Li shook his head. "I appreciate it, but I've got something more important to do." Mad Wolf didn't mind at all and laughed loudly. "Fine, whatever. Guild or no guild, we're friends now. Someday offline, let's grab food together. I'll treat you to Bobo chicken." "Deal," Lu Li answered cleanly. Just then, the host shouted again. "Because the arena has been too heavily damaged, emergency repairs are underway. The match will resume shortly. Also, somebody asked the king what reinforcement level we're supposed to use on this thing." The king, who had been watching everything from afar, said in a heavy voice, "Don't delay the tournament. Reinforce it to the highest level immediately. The warriors must be chosen as soon as possible. I don't have much time left." And at that moment, the faint trace of blood still lingering at the corner of the king's mouth did not go unnoticed by the sharp-eyed crowd. Before long, a brand new arena rose again, looking even sturdier than before. But then came another surprise. The next matchup was Fei versus Dawn Guild's leader. The moment Fei saw his opponent, his head started pounding. Seriously? Why did I have to run into their boss of all people? But right after that, another thought popped into his head. If he somehow won this fight, Little Chili would probably turn into his #1 fangirl on the spot. While Fei was still grinning to himself like an idiot, Dawn Guild's leader calmly spoke first. "Kid, do you know the first thing a mage should do when fighting a swordsman?" Before Fei could answer, the man had already drawn his sword and rushed forward. "That would be create distance." Fei panicked and immediately started charging up a flaming punch, but the skill was interrupted before it could even form. Dawn Guild's leader even had the spare attention to comment, "Why not charge it with your left hand? That might slightly lower my odds of interrupting you." Fei actually switched to his left hand on the spot like an idiot and got interrupted all over again. From that point on, no matter how he charged, adjusted, or tried to change rhythm, Every single cast got shut down with perfect timing. By then, Ah-Fei was getting so frustrated he snapped and started cranking out a whole barrage of fireballs at once. But Dawn Guild's leader looked like he had already seen right through him. Trying to force me back with firepower so you can kite me afterward? Nice idea. Too bad. I already figured it out. In the very next second, his sword vibrated, and countless sword shadows burst out. Every single fireball Ah-Fei launched was sliced apart and extinguished on the spot. Seeing that, Ah-Fei dropped flat onto the ground in total despair. How the hell am I even supposed to play this? At that moment, little Chili was already losing it below the stage, shouting at the top of her lungs, "Ah-Fei, beat him up already!" But someone nearby immediately poured cold water on that idea. It's not that easy. His opponent is a famous pro player. Back in the day, he won championship cups like it was nothing. Didn't he retire not long ago, though? I really didn't expect to run into him here. Hearing little Chili cheering for him like that, Ah-Fei felt even more embarrassed about surrendering on the spot. Just then, he noticed Lu Li pointing at his own head. That tiny gesture instantly reminded Ah-Fei of how Han Yixiao used to do the exact same thing, telling him to think on his feet. After all, Ah-Fei's ideas had always been wild and unpredictable, and that was exactly why he could sometimes pull off things nobody else would ever think of. Dawn Guild's leader caught that and paused for a second before smiling. "Oh? So you got your fighting spirit back that fast? Remembered something important?" Fei sprang to his feet and used several quick flashes of movement to pull the distance open again. Then he directly opened his game interface and barked, "Spirit, play me something intense! This guy keeps yapping and it's driving me nuts!" The moment the music kicked in, Ah-Fei's whole state shifted. It was like he instantly locked back into his own rhythm, his body filling with energy again. Once the music started, Ah-Fei actually calmed down. All the panic from before vanished, and that change finally made Dawn Guild's leader show a trace of genuine interest. In the next second, Ah-Fei charged forward, wrapped in flames. Right after that, he dropped into a sliding tackle, barely slipping under the horizontal slash coming straight at him. But what nobody expected was his next move. He reached straight toward the guild leader's lower body. Just as the attack was about to explode, Dawn Guild's leader used his sword as a pivot, flipped away with effortless control, and dodged it cleanly. Then he hopped backwards several times and commented almost like a teacher, "So that's the new tactic you came up with? Not bad. Still a little short, though." Fei spun around and shouted through gritted teeth, "If tricks won't work, then I'll just smash through you head on." Unfortunately, every fireball he hurled out was still blocked one after another with perfect precision. Then Dawn Guild's leader raised his blade and cut straight toward him from the front. Fei immediately countered with a fire tornado, swallowing the man whole in an instant. Little Chili jumped up from below the stage in excitement. Nice one. But before anyone could celebrate for long, the attack paths inside the fire tornado were all sliced apart one by one. It hadn't really hurt him at all. Dawn Guild's leader even had enough breathing room to comment, "For a mage, your close-range combat is already pretty impressive. But a mage is still a mage." The moment he finished speaking, he swung once more and blasted Ah-Fei flying backward. But while still in midair, Ah-Fei clenched his teeth, steadied himself, and slammed both palms together. 10,000 sparks, answer my call. Meteoric firefall. In the next instant, countless fireballs filled the entire sky. Even Dawn Guild's leader, who had seen more than enough battles in his life, was visibly surprised for a split second. Then the endless barrage of fireballs came crashing down and completely swallowed him. Seeing that, even the host laughed. Looks like this one's finally decided. But inside, Ah-Fei was still panicking. This had to do something, right? The next second, though, loud laughter suddenly rang out from within the smoke. As the dust thinned, everyone was shocked to see that Dawn Guild's leader was completely unharmed. He even smiled and said, "That was flashy. I'll give you that." The crowd below stared in disbelief. Not even scratched? That makes no sense. Even Lu Li looked speechless and muttered under his breath, "What is that like? 1 point invested in defense?" Fei was already starting to panic. He threw out a hasty attack, only for Dawn Guild's leader to block it with ease. The man even had time to comment, "Your rhythm's falling apart again." Before the words had fully landed, he was already in front of Ah-Fei with his sword raised, his voice calm but crushing. "Your attacks are running out of steam." But surprisingly, there wasn't a trace of fear on Ah-Fei's face now. If anything, he looked almost unhinged. At the exact same time, the music in his ears hit its climax, and in the very next second, Ah-Fei suddenly raised one hand and caught the full-force blow head-on. Dawn Guild's leader froze for a split second. A legendary skill? Infinite firepower? For 10 seconds, your skills are practically on zero cooldown? Fei just grinned and threw out a bizarre question. "Tell me, have you ever embarrassed yourself?" The next instant, he drove a vicious upward kick straight into the man's jaw, sending even his hat flying off. Then he followed without hesitation with Blue Flame Great Rock Burst. But the second Dawn Guild's leader barely regained his footing. Faye was already behind him like a ghost, laughing. Your reactions are getting slower. Another Great Flame Burst slammed down and blasted him straight into the ground. Right after that, Faye unleashed 3 fire tornadoes in a row and kept piling on the pressure. The crowd below was stunned. Faye's combat power just exploded out of nowhere, but he still wasn't done. He stacked 99 fireballs one after another. In the end, those 99 fireballs fused into one absurdly massive super fireball. Then he hurled that monster straight down at Dawn Guild's leader on the ground. At that moment, the man understood one thing clearly. If he tanked it head-on, even he would be in serious trouble. Looks like I can't keep holding back. In the next second, he activated the epic skill Blunt Axe. For 1 second, it reflected incoming damage back at the enemy, up to 30% of his own maximum HP. And unfortunately for Faye, this man was a tank knight built for taking hits. Just like that, the overwhelming super fireball was reflected straight back at him. But Faye's 10-second true man burst had already ended. His whole body went limp, and he didn't even have the strength left to dodge. All he could do was watch the fireball grow larger and larger in front of him. In the end, he was blasted clean off the stage before he could even let out a proper scream. Looking down at Faye after the match, Dawn Guild's leader spoke with surprising admiration. You're a player with real imagination. Give it time, and you'll definitely become something. But right as he said that, his pants suddenly slid down. The entire arena instantly erupted into chaos. Boos rang out everywhere. Pervert! Lying below the stage, Faye instead showed a smug grin. I knew I wasn't beating you, but I had to force your real skills out. The rest, I'll leave to my second brother. Dawn Guild's leader looked down at his fallen pants, and instead of getting angry, he actually smiled wider. Kid, you're even better than I expected. Faye just stared blankly and blurted out, big bro? Maybe pull your pants up first? Dawn Guild's members went speechless on the spot, and even the host awkwardly coughed, his face turning red. This scene is probably not appropriate for younger viewers. Next match, step up immediately. And to everyone's surprise, the next one onto the stage was Dawn Guild's third brother against the Brawler Girl. The Brawler Girl rolled her wrists, battle hunger blazing in her eyes. Finally, my hands have been itching for this. The third brother actually bowed first and greeted her politely. Sister Huajiao, I've heard so much about you. The Brawler Girl paused. You know me? He smiled at once. Of course I do. Honestly, I've been your fan for years. It's been almost 10 years since you first entered the pro scene. Back then, you were unstoppable. You were collecting championships like they were nothing. Then later, you joined a top-tier club, became its core pillar, and held the #1 spot among female esports mechanical players for years. There are still too many legends about you to even count. The Brawler Girl's eyelid twitched, and a dangerous thought instantly flashed through her mind. This guy, don't tell me he likes me? No way. I cannot let Zhang Yu get the wrong idea. Once I get on that stage, I'm beating him half to death. Right then, Little Chili suddenly shouted, Sis, what are you spacing out for? There's something weird behind him. The Brawler Girl immediately looked over and saw that something really was hidden behind him. But by then, it was already too late. A demonic tree had already appeared behind Dawn Guild's third brother, meaning his stalling plan had worked. It turned out to be a skill called Magic Descent. It required a 10-second chant, attacked enemies within range, boosted the caster's HP by 150%, and could keep growing without limit. At that moment, third brother drew the sword on his back and said calmly, Sorry, you've already lost. The Brawler Girl didn't care at all. To a stupid tree? Then she charged straight in, slashing down the incoming branches as she advanced. But just as she was about to close the distance, a wide barrage suddenly crashed down and covered the entire area around her. She immediately raised her leg high and smashed it into the ground. In the next second, a protective barrier flared into existence and blocked the attack head-on. But just as she barely caught her breath, a flash suddenly lit up inside the smoke. Another arrow came flying in. She avoided the fatal hit, but it still sliced across her face. Meanwhile, third brother calmly knocked another arrow with a faint smile. He kept firing non-stop, specifically cutting off every route she could use to rush him. The Brawler Girl had no choice but to stop advancing and focus on batting away the arrows instead. At the same time, she was already analyzing his positioning. Good vision? Plus that demonic tree? Yeah, he could wear someone down to death with this setup. Then she hacked off a piece of wood with one swing and made up her mind. I have to find a way to get in close. She hurled the broken branch straight at him and used the opening to charge in behind it, but he was still perfectly calm. He raised his bow and fired Mandrake Arrow. The shot instantly broke her forward momentum. Even so, the Brawler Girl had clearly already accounted for that. Borrowing the force of the interruption, she hung in the air and unleashed Mountain Shaker Cannon. But he answered coolly, "Senior, I'm not giving you that chance." Then he instantly used Air Bullet Sword, forcing her backward again. The brawler girl said coldly, "Looks like retirement didn't dull your instincts after all." He replied flatly, "If I'm standing here this confidently, of course I've got more in reserve." She gritted her teeth and snapped, "Talk while you still can. In a moment, all you'll manage is screaming in pain." But the instant she finished speaking, she suddenly coughed up blood. Without realizing it, she had been poisoned. Third brother explained calmly, "I knew you'd tank that arrow, so the mandrake arrow was poisoned from the start. Your HP will keep dropping until you collapse." Then he looked at her and asked in an easy tone, "So tell me, idol, how much longer do you think you can last?" The brawler girl quickly judged that after being poisoned, she could hold on for at most 30 more seconds, which meant she had to find an opening within that time. If she could avoid his knockback skill and get into close range, one full combo might still be enough to finish him instantly. At that moment, third brother drew another arrow and began charging it. "I'm not going to give you even a second to breathe. Your mechanics are still too dangerous for that." Then another overwhelming wave of attacks came crashing down. The brawler girl could only focus on dodging while retreating farther and farther back. The distance between them kept widening. It also made his vision less clear, but he still wasn't worried. 20 seconds left. But right then, the brawler girl suddenly launched upward with another Mountain Shaker Cannon. In the blink of an eye, she was already directly above his head. Even then, he showed no panic at all. His composure was rock solid. The next instant, he fired off Air Bullet Sword again and knocked her backward one more time. But right then, the brawler girl used Mountain Shaker Cannon again. Borrowing the recoil, she launched herself straight at third brother and blew apart his high ground position in one hit. Left with no choice, he had to jump down from the tree. Of course, the brawler girl wasn't about to waste that chance and immediately chased after him. The distance between them kept shrinking fast. He quickly fired a split arrow, trying to interrupt her advance, but she grabbed a piece of bark and used it to block the shot. In the next second, though, several purple holes suddenly appeared in that bark. Another mandrake arrow. The brawler girl's body stiffened and she dropped straight down. Third brother smiled. 9 seconds left. But honestly, I don't think I even need to keep counting. Even Dawn Guild's members had to admire how calculated he was. It was obvious he had done a lot of homework in advance. Mad Wolf muttered, "At this rate, won't she just become unbeatable later?" The guild leader only smiled and shook his head. Stats are still just stats. But then third brother suddenly frowned. Why hasn't the referee announced the result yet? Don't tell me she's still alive? Sure enough, the brawler girl suddenly charged at him again. He said coldly, "You've only got 3 seconds left. Stop struggling." Then he fired off Air Bullet Sword again, but she barely dodged it with a sliding tackle. In the blink of an eye, she was already right in front of him. By then, her whole face had already turned purple. Even so, she still forced out Mountain Shaker art, blasting out 6 fist shadows at once toward him. He still dodged steadily and said, "Only 2 seconds left. This match is mine." But before he finished speaking, he still got hit by one punch. At that moment, the brawler girl's strength suddenly erupted. "Empty your mind. Break past your limit." In the next instant, the rest of the fist shadows were already smashing toward his face almost at the same time. What followed was a rapid string of impacts, like fists and bones crashing against each other non-stop. In the final second, the brawler girl threw out her strongest punch of all. After she instantly dropped Dawn Guild's third brother, she also collapsed from the poison a moment later. The host couldn't judge the outcome on the spot, and could only turn to ask the king for a ruling. Down below, Feng Meng couldn't help saying, "Boss, weren't you the one saying third brother was such a monster? He still got burst down for 70% in one combo." Dawn Guild's leader just smiled. "As expected of Hua Yao, I underestimated her. If I'm not mistaken, she just entered a selfless state." Mad Wolf looked confused. "A what now?" The leader explained. "It's a state where mind and body become one. In that condition, her nerves and cells all go into overdrive, so everything around her feels slower. That's why she could break through multiple layers of pressure in such a short time and pull off movements she normally wouldn't be able to." Mad Wolf immediately got interested. "That strong? Then maybe I'll try it myself later." And at that moment, the final ruling was announced. Surprisingly, even though the two had tied, both of them were eliminated. After that, both of them were helped off the stage. Little Chili wanted to comfort the brawler girl, but the brawler girl waved her off first. "I'm fine." Then she looked at the others and said softly, "Sorry, I still couldn't win." Lu Li tried to comfort her. "You were already amazing. Besides, how is a draw the same as losing?" That last punch probably came close to breaking the game's damage cap. To everyone's surprise, the brawler girl grabbed Lu Li's hand right away. "Hubby, you really do get me." Lu Li instantly looked helpless. "Don't call me that. I'm not dating anybody." Then the host announced, Next match, Luna versus Dawn Guild's second brother, Thunderblade. Just as everyone was cheering Luna on, her father suddenly called her in the real world. Luna had no choice but to put her character on standby and answer. A cold voice came from the other side. The experiment report is out. Your compatibility is very high. Come to the company immediately. Hearing that, Luna instantly brightened up, thinking to herself, the last time Dad brought me to the company was so long ago. But she quickly remembered that she still had a match to fight. So she hurriedly said, Father, could you wait a little? I still have. But he cut her off at once. I don't like waiting. The butler is on the way. Get yourself ready. After her father hung up, her personal maid Nana quietly said from the side, Miss, maybe this is fate. After logging back into the game, Luna could only tell everyone that she couldn't continue and apologize to them. The others all understood. Family matters came first. Just like that, only 3 people remained in the race for the championship. But unexpectedly, the next random match was Dawn Guild's leader versus their second brother. Faye immediately lit up and shouted to Lu Li, Second brother Lu, this is great. You're going straight to the finals. But Dawn Guild didn't look disappointed at all. The leader smiled at second brother. It's been a while since we fought each other. This is a good chance to warm up. Second brother shook his head and replied, But I'd rather fight that assassin. Why not give your spot to me? The leader laughed. It's rare to see you this competitive. Fine, I'll give it to you. Then he directly told the referee that he was forfeiting. And just like that, the final match became Lu Li versus Thunderblade. Below the stage, Faye and Little Chili screamed wildly, Second brother Lu will win! Go, second brother! Beat him down, second brother! At that moment, Mad Wolf suddenly walked over, looked at Lu Li, and said, We're friends now, more or less. When you fought me earlier, you were still hiding a lot. To be fair, I'll tell you a little about Thunderblade too. But honestly, your chances of beating him are still pretty slim. And so, the final battle was about to begin. People below the stage were already guessing how many seconds Lu Li could even last. The moment Lu Li and Dawn Guild's second brother stepped onto the stage, both of them turned into afterimages. The host just stood there awkwardly, unable to keep up with anything at all. Even though both of them were using stealth skills, they still seemed able to pinpoint each other perfectly. Thunderblade made the first move with a flaming kick, and Lu Li immediately met it with his blade. In the blink of an eye, they had already exchanged hundreds of moves, and neither side had the upper hand. Then they took the fight straight into the air, leaving afterimages everywhere. The host couldn't help blurting out, They're way too fast. Which one is the real body? At that moment, Lu Li unleashed 108 slashes in an instant. Thunderblade answered with 108 kicks head-on. In the end, the two smashed directly into each other with a brutal kick clash. A deafening airburst explosion rang out, and both of them were blasted backward at the same time. Players from other guilds below the stage were stunned that Zhang Yu can actually trade evenly with Dawn Guild's second brother? And this is just the warm-up? The warm-up is already this insane? At that moment, both of them unleashed Rending Burst Blade at the same time. Violent energy instantly flooded the entire arena. Lu Li tried to use the smoke for a sneak attack, but Thunderblade still dodged it. Right after that, Lu Li took a kick straight to the back. Thunderblade instantly appeared behind him again, but Lu Li immediately used Backstab to flash behind Thunderblade in return. What he didn't expect was that Thunderblade had a similar movement skill of his own and turned it right back on him with another kick. Lu Li slashed backhanded, only to be forced back by one of Thunderblade's cross strikes. Lu Li had no choice but to draw his second dagger. Only then did he manage to force Thunderblade back a little. Thunderblade said calmly, You're still testing me. When are you actually going to get serious? At that moment, Lu Li remembered what Mad Wolf had told him. Mad Wolf had fought Thunderblade thousands of times and never won once. In real life, Thunderblade had been an elite mercenary, skilled with all kinds of weapons, and his close-quarters compatibility was terrifying enough to take down over a dozen people by himself. The reason he came to this game traced back to one mission where the enemy took a child hostage and forced him to surrender. Worse still, even one of his own teammates had been bought off. Fortunately, he still managed to avoid the fatal blow at the last moment. Then he emptied a burst of bullets and put down the traitorous teammate on the spot. After that, he pulled the knife out of his own shoulder and finished the enemy with a clean headshot. But even then, the enemy still managed to hit the detonation switch at the very last second. That incident became a scar Thunderblade could never truly get over. As for how Dawn Guild's leader later convinced him to join, Lu Li didn't know. What he did know was that once Thunderblade entered the game, he shot straight to number 1 on the assassin ranking. Now Lu Li spun the twin blades in his hands and said quietly, Interesting. Then I guess it's time for me to get serious too. As Lu Li and Thunderblade fought at full intensity, Lu Li suddenly realized that Thunderblade still hadn't truly drawn his real blade, and anger flared in his chest. Was this guy really looking down on him that much? He immediately slashed several times in a row, forcing Thunderblade backwards step by step. Thunderblade had to use the opening to widen the distance, thinking to himself that Zhang Yu's twin dagger speed was no joke. Even his arms were starting to go numb. Then Lu Li sent another blade wave forward. After dodging it, Thunderblade casually moved his blade behind his back. In the next instant, he split into 4 clones and sent them all rushing at Lu Li together. Lu Li might have had twin daggers, but even he couldn't handle 4 attackers at once forever, and he kept getting hit. So he decisively used Rending Burst Blade, instantly scattering all 4 clones. Then he rushed Thunderblade immediately, refusing to give him even a second to breathe. But right then, Thunderblade also used Rending Burst Blade. Lu Li instantly sent out a shadow clone to draw the attack. Meanwhile, his real body burst out from behind Thunderblade and carved a clean hit across him. At the same time, the clone followed up with another slash. Thunderblade used a movement skill similar to Backstab to dodge and widen the distance at once. Even so, his back still ended up with a deep cut across it. Dawn Guild's leader couldn't help sighing. I didn't expect Zhang Yue to still have cards left. Do you think he can beat Thunderblade? Someone beside him answered, it's surprising. Sure, but as things stand right now, he still has basically no chance. At that moment, Thunderblade finally got serious and slowly drew the blade from his back. The instant it fully cleared the sheath, a streak of golden lightning dropped from the sky. Staring at the weapon, Lu Li said quietly, so you're finally willing to draw it. Guess we'll see how much stronger that makes you. Thunderblade pointed the blade straight at him and said flatly, I usually don't use it. It's too strong. Nobody gets to enjoy the game. Lu Li immediately felt a sharp sense of danger crash down on him. In the next second, that golden lightning struck him head on. His clone rushed in at once, trying to interrupt Thunderblade's casting, but it turned out to be an instant skill. Once it locked onto a target, it kept electrocuting them until they dropped. By then, Lu Li had already been forced down to one knee. He knew he couldn't keep dragging this out. He had to break the situation immediately, so he activated Hidden Dragon beneath the abyss, while his clone launched Rending Burst Blade at the same time. Both attacks landed on Thunderblade almost together. A huge surge of energy instantly exploded across the arena. Even Dawn Guild's side went tense when they saw that. But Lu Li wasn't happy at all. Instead, he realized something felt off about the final hit. Right then, a golden blade suddenly burst out through Lu Li's chest. Thunderblade had actually torn through space, emerging from a completely different angle to launch a fatal counterattack. It was a god-tier skill. When taking a fatal hit, he could cut through space to evade the attack and recover 20% of his HP, with a cooldown of 12 hours. What Thunderblade hadn't expected, though, was that as the pierced body slowly faded away, he realized he had only stabbed Lu Li's clone. The real Lu Li appeared a short distance away, sweat covering his forehead, and said in a low voice, I'll admit it, you really are strong. Thunderblade replied just as calmly, you're not bad either. That last one almost really killed me. Then Thunderblade split into 4 clones again, and this time, every single one of them drew a blade. In the next instant, bolts of lightning as thick as pillars crashed down from the sky. Even the host was stunned. This match is way too entertaining. We really should have charged admission. At that point, Lu Li could only keep moving at top speed, dodging the lightning that kept crashing down after him. He wanted to use the chaos to get close to Thunderblade, but he couldn't even break within 5 meters. Every time he almost reached him, the attacks blasted him right back toward the edge of the arena. Even Lu Li was getting annoyed. Does that weapon not even have a cooldown? Below the stage, Ah Fei straight up cursed. My infinite firepower at least has a time limit. This thing's just spamming lightning like it costs nothing. The brawler girl kept staring at the blade. I've never seen a weapon of that quality before. Mad Wolf shook his head. Brother, the fact that you pushed it this far is already impressive. But from here on out, this is looking rough. That weapon in Thunderblade's hand is a mythic grade weapon, Origin Thunderblade. It's a growth type weapon. Its attacks carry lightning damage that keeps hunting the target until their HP hits 0. And once every 3 minutes, it can also unleash Thunderstorm, its strongest built-up lightning strike. Lu Li could hardly believe it. That's impossible. Mythic weapons haven't even been released yet. Then something clicked in his mind. You were a closed beta player, weren't you? Thunderblade nodded. Looks like you're a veteran player too. Lu Li was visibly shaken. Do you know someone named Han Yixiao? I'm his brother. Can you tell me anything about him? Thunderblade looked surprised too. So that's the connection. I can tell you, but on one condition. Beat me first. If you're really Han Yixiao's brother, then this shouldn't be all you've got. Lu Li's gaze sharpened. Deal. In the next second, his figure blurred and shot straight at Thunderblade. In an instant, he was already inside the formation of Thunderblade's clones. He opened with Backstab, then changed straight into Rending Burst Blade, quickly taking one clone down. At that moment, Thunderblade immediately answered with Thunderstorm. Lu Li kept dodging at high speed while using the gaps to kill another clone, but in return, he also took a hit across the back. Even so, Lu Li ignored the wound completely, forced himself to turn, and cut down that clone as well. Then he charged again toward the remaining clones and the real body. For a moment, the entire arena was filled with deep crimson and golden lightning twisting together. When the smoke finally cleared, several figures appeared at once, and no one could tell who had the upper hand. But in the next second, Lu Li suddenly coughed up blood and dropped to one knee. Seeing that, Thunderblade raised his blade and said calmly, "Brother, looks like this is where your chances run out." Lu Li forced himself back to his feet. "We're not done yet." Then he created another clone and attacked Thunderblade from both front and back. Thunderblade smiled. "So that's your plan. Use the clone to draw my attention, then strike from behind with your real body." With that, he turned and slashed backward, but Lu Li only smiled. "Who told you that was the real body?" It turned out Lu Li had used Shadow Shift, instantly switching places with the clone. Right after that, he activated Rending Burst Blade, dragging both himself and Thunderblade into the attack zone. Even the host was stunned. "We can't see anything." Is Zhang Yu trying to drag Thunderblade into a point-blank deathmatch? Inside the storm of attacks, Thunderblade still didn't look panicked. "What? Are you trying to take me down with you?" But in the next instant, his expression suddenly changed. This is... I didn't expect." Lu Li's body had already transformed into a demonic form. He had entered Asura mode. Lu Li spoke slowly. "Now the real fight begins. Are you ready, Thunderblade?" Thunderblade froze. Asura mode? At that moment, the pressure from the energy cracked his mask apart. And with that, his mind was dragged back into a memory he had buried long ago. Back then, Dawn Guild's leader had been shouting at her from the side. "Second sister, are you okay?" Thunderblade shook her head and regained a little focus. "I'm fine. What about the others?" The leader answered in a low voice. "They're all dead." Bodies of players were already sprawled all over the ground, and standing in front of them was a gigantic robot. Dawn Guild's leader muttered, "This mythic-grade boss is ridiculous. But if we can take it down in this closed beta version, then once the full release starts, we'll absolutely be the #1 guild. I'm almost at my limit too. This thing's up to you now." The code box. It can bind one exclusive item or piece of equipment and carry it into the full release? That reward is insane. Back then, the boss charged in again, rapidly condensing an energy sphere above its head before blasting it straight down in front of the two of them. Dawn Guild's leader immediately raised his shield. "Second sister, I can only block this one hit for you. The rest is up to you." Then he activated defense enhancement. Black Tortoise Shield plus shield counter. In the next second, the boss was knocked back by the reflected force. However, the leader himself broke apart into pixels and disappeared. "Go! Finish it!" Left all alone, Thunderblade slowly drew the blade from her back and activated Thunder Clone Art. In an instant, the boss's outer shell was torn apart into scattered pieces. Right after that, she prepared to land the finishing strike. Black Death Sword. In the next second, the boss's body was pierced straight through by two massive swords. Seeing that, Thunderblade finally let out a breath. At last, it's over. But right then, the robot's head suddenly flew up in front of her, a knight wrapped in lightning, then stepped out from inside it. "Be honored. You are witnessing this king's true form." Only then did it become clear that this had been the boss's real body all along. Then it rose into the air, and 5 energy spheres appeared in the sky at once. In the next instant, a bolt of lightning as thick as a barrel came crashing down. Pathetic human, be shattered beneath this king's furious thunder. Faced with such overwhelming power, Thunderblade could only keep retreating. The sheer pressure made her heart sink. This isn't even the same level. Our guild fought for 2 full days and nights. Are we really still going to fail? But there was nothing she could do. Just then, the boss prepared to deal the final blow to Thunderblade. But suddenly, a voice rang out. "You're that huge, and you're picking on a little girl? Aren't you ashamed?" The boss was furious. "Who are you to interfere in this king's business?" With that, the boss lashed out with a bolt of lightning toward the newcomer. The man simply raised one finger with his right hand. "You swung first. Then take one from me." In the next second, Sky-blocking finger blasted forward and instantly tore through the boss's lightning strike. Not only that, the attack also blew away half the boss's body. The boss was stunned. "You're Wuyu?" The man descended in front of it and said coldly, "You're about to die, and you still talk this much?" The boss roared, "You think you can kill me? Wishful thinking." The man chuckled. "Is that so?" In the next second, the man directly activated Asura mode. Then a bolt of purple lightning dropped from the sky and struck the boss dead center. Just like that, the boss was utterly destroyed, leaving behind only a glowing weapon. Thunderblade instantly flashed forward and snatched the weapon first. "This really is a mythic weapon. Thunderblade!" The man looked speechless. "What's with this girl? Forget thanking me. She's actually guarding against me?" Then he appeared in front of her in a blink and said flatly, "It's yours. I'm not interested." I was just passing through and helping out. By the way, my name is Han Yixiao. Nice to meet you. Thunderblade froze, thinking to herself, he's not going to kill me and take the weapon? He's just leaving? Watching the man walk away, she immediately turned and shouted after him, Han Yixiao! Remember this! I hate owing people. I'll pay this debt back sooner or later. At the same time, back in the arena, the sphere of energy surrounding Lu Li and Thunderblade had swollen to the limit, looking like it could explode at any second. Everyone below the stage held their breath and stared without blinking. When the energy finally cleared, Lu Li was the one standing there with his blade pointed at Thunderblade. The whole arena immediately erupted in cheers. Zhan Yu! Zhan Yu! Lu Li spoke up right away. Now you can tell me about my brother, right? Thunderblade looked a little awkward. After all, her connection with Han Yixiao had only lasted for a certain period, and she honestly did not know where to begin. But the moment Lu Li won, he could not wait any longer. You can tell me now. Thunderblade let out a quiet sigh and slowly started recalling the past. Back then, after Han Yixiao saved her, he even left the mythic weapon Thunderblade in her hands. But she hated owing favors, so she insisted on the spot that she had to repay him somehow. Han Yixiao had actually been left speechless. How about this? You give the gear back to me, I toss it away, and then you just happen to pick it up. Good enough? No. Then what exactly do you want? I've got things to do. Thunderblade stubbornly replied. Then let's do this. Our guild offers dungeon carries and escort services. I'll go run dungeons with you to pay off the debt. But right then, Han Yixiao suddenly shouted, Watch out behind you! Thunderblade immediately turned around, only to find a worm slowly crawling along the ground. By the time she turned back, Han Yixiao had already vanished in a puff like smoke. Even so, Thunderblade did not give up, and in the end, the two of them still wound up running dungeons and quests together. To be fair, they were both top-tier players, and their coordination was absurdly smooth. Even high-difficulty bosses were usually no problem for them. Of course, it was not perfect every single time. Once in a while, things still went sideways, and whenever that happened, Han Yixiao would simply use his trump card, Sky-Blocking Finger. No matter what kind of monster it was, that one move usually erased it on the spot. Later, there was one time when Han Yixiao accidentally saw Thunderblade's face under the mask. Thunderblade had looked uncomfortable back then. Don't look at me. My face. Is it really that? Han Yixiao cut her off immediately. That good looking? And you still hide it? What? Did too many people used to chase after you? Thunderblade lowered her voice. You don't have to comfort me. I have the same scar on my face in real life too. But Han Yixiao answered seriously. I really do think it looks cool. And honestly, pretty too. There's no need to keep hiding behind a mask. After a pause, Thunderblade replied softly, Then, when I'm with you, I won't wear it. Back in the present, Thunderblade touched the new mask on her face and said quietly, I was your brother's teammate for a while. Really? That's great. Lu Li immediately pressed on. Then when was the last time you saw him? Thunderblade answered. It was the night after we killed that boss. He suddenly said he needed to leave for a while. He said the game had gone wrong. Someone had opened a door that should never have been opened. I told him I wanted to go too. But he said that place was somewhere only he could go. He also said that when he came back, he'd treat me to hot pot in real life. And he said he'd introduce me to his two very interesting younger brothers. But after that, I never heard from him again. Hearing that, Lu Li fell into thought. That door he mentioned, could it be the same place Wu Yue called Infernal Purgatory? Then he asked another question. Did he ever say where that place was? No. Lu Li looked a bit disappointed. I see. Thunderblade paused, then added, Oh, right. Before he left, he muttered one more thing to himself. If the door could not be closed, then he would be everywhere. Lu Li frowned at once. Everywhere? Then the host loudly announced, The champion of this tournament is Lu Li. The team he formed has earned the right to choose one treasure from the royal vault. After that, Lu Li and the others were escorted toward the king's palace. The host only brought them to the entrance, then stopped there and told them to go in on their own. Two butlers were waiting there to receive them. When the doors slowly opened, an unbelievably luxurious palace came into view. And this was only the first floor, used for banquets and receiving guests. Ah Fei and Little Chili were both stunned by what they saw. This is ridiculously extravagant. At that moment, one of the butlers opened another door and explained that, by the king's order, each of them could choose one treasure. Then the group followed the passage beyond that door and started heading downward. To their surprise, it went so deep that they couldn't even see the bottom. They had no idea how long they had walked. The only sound echoing through the palace was their own footsteps. Ah Fei couldn't help grumbling. This whole palace is massive, and we only get one piece of equipment each? But just then, the sight beyond another open door left them completely stunned. Inside were literal mountains of gold and treasure, shining so brightly it was hard to keep their eyes open. It looked like something straight out of a legend. Faye and Little Chili immediately threw themselves toward it. Luli and the others could only watch from behind, looking a little speechless. At that point, the brawler girl said to Luli, "You can have my pick too." But Luli shook his head. "Just pick your own." Then the two butlers informed Luli that the king wished to see him first, and that he could return to choose his treasure afterward. Luli followed the stairs further down, but after a while, he started growing impatient. In the next second, he simply jumped over the railing. He landed steadily at the lowest level of the palace. There, the king was already sitting on a distant throne, quietly watching him. "You've come, warriors on you. I've been waiting for you for a long time." Then a chair slowly rose behind Luli. "Sit." Luli looked at the king with clear suspicion. The king smiled. "What, surprised? You didn't expect the ruler of a nation to look like this? And you didn't expect me to be in such a hurry to bring you here?" After sitting down, Luli said calmly, "None of that interests me. What I want to know is this. If you really want to save your daughter, why not send all the warriors together? Holding a tournament like this only wastes time. Unless saving the princess is just a front." The king nodded in satisfaction. As expected of the warrior I personally selected. Not only talented, but clever too. Very good. But in the next moment, iron restraints suddenly shot out from the chair and locked Luli in place. The king spoke slowly. "That's right. There was never any boring tale here about a princess and a dragon." Then he tore off his cloak in one motion, and his voice turned cold. "The true purpose of this selection was to choose the finest body, then transfer its youth and strength to me, so that my legend can live on forever." At that moment, a chill ran down Luli's spine. He struggled with everything he had, trying to break free from the restraints, but it was completely useless. The king instantly appeared in front of him and sneered, "Don't waste your strength. This material was prepared specifically for you." The next second, two red beams shot out from the king's eyes. They struck Luli head-on and immediately began devouring his soul. At the same time, Faye and the others were still inside the treasure vault, struggling to decide what to pick. But right then, they suddenly heard the massive doors slam shut behind them. The brawler girl frowned. "What exactly are you trying to do?" The butlers, who had looked gentle a moment ago, suddenly showed vicious smiles. "What else do you think locking the doors means? We're here to kill you." In the next instant, powerful energy erupted from both of them. Then they actually began controlling two giant knight statues, while the surrounding weapons were pulled into their grasp as well. Faye and the others were stunned. Weren't these guys NPCs? But before they could think any further, they all rushed forward at once. "Forget it! Kill them first!" So the group charged the two butlers together. The sword-wielding butler casually unleashed Bladestorm. In a single instant, he blasted all three of them away with ease. Then he sneered. "So these are the so-called warriors? Pathetic trash." Even the brawler girl was coughing blood after a single hit, and her heart sank at once. This was practically the difficulty of a 50-man raid. She immediately realized that if things were already this dangerous here, then Luli's side had to be in even greater danger. Meanwhile, Luli was still pinned there, his soul being dragged out of him, with almost no sign of resistance left. But the king had already started talking to himself, lost in his own memories. Since ancient times, why have emperors always yearned for immortality? Is it for pleasure? For harems of beauties? Or for the power to rule all beneath heaven? Or is it simply fear of death? But those are the thoughts of greedy, deluded men. They don't deserve to be called kings. The immortality I seek is the will of the people, the truth of the world, and the will of heaven itself. From the moment he came into this world and opened his eyes, all he saw was endless war. Everyone was nothing but meat waiting for slaughter. Humans were helpless before nature, helpless before monsters. In the end, it even turned into people devouring one another. And all of that was so unbearable that even heaven itself could no longer stand by. That is why it chose me. Back then, I was just a slave under another man's heel. I had done nothing wrong, yet I was beaten for no reason. Even those who tried to plead for me were dragged down and beaten too. And from that moment on, something inside me finally snapped. I picked up a stone and smashed it straight into that man. After that, I led everyone into rebellion. I rose against this unjust world and raised my blade of judgment against the power that ruled it. And like that, standing atop mountains of corpses, I won. The king continued, completely immersed in his own tale. After that, I organized everyone and began wiping out the monsters. I led the people to reclaim farmland and plant out crops so everyone would have food to eat. Then I began building cities and defensive structures, and little by little, everything took shape. In the end, I became the king of this world and built a nation that was both prosperous and powerful. I even established my own bloodline of inheritance, and for a while, everything seemed to be moving in the right direction. But one day, a group of useless doctors suddenly told me that I was dying. I was so furious that I spat out blood on the spot. How was that possible? I was still in my prime. This world only regained its light because of me. Without me, it would sink right back into darkness. I roared at the heavens in unwilling rage. You were the one who chose me, so why are you abandoning me now? And as if heaven had truly heard my cry, space cracked open, and a single eye appeared within the rift. It answered me, acknowledged me, and showed me a new path. After that, I returned to the palace and burned the entire place to the ground. Then I turned my own descendants into fuel to prolong my life. The king stared at his prey with fanatical eyes. And now, you are the final step in my rise. Zhan Yu, be proud. This world will see the light again because of you. At that moment, from the king's perspective, the Lu Li bound to the chair seemed to be in so much pain his breath was failing, left without even the strength to open his mouth and curse. But right then, that Lu Li suddenly exploded on the spot and turned into a puddle of blood. The king froze in shock. How is that possible? He was that fragile? What happened? Then a cold voice suddenly came from above his head. What a boring story. It's about time this ended, and stop dressing yourself up as righteous. In the end, you're no different from those selfish tyrants. Actually, you're even more pathetic. Only then did the king realize that the one whose soul he had been draining was merely Lu Li's clone. His face darkened. Ignorant fool. You don't understand my great dream at all. Then he suddenly shouted upward, You two, get down here now. In the next instant, two figures dropped from above. They were the two transformed butlers from before. Landing beside the king, both of them lowered their heads. Forgive us, your majesty. We arrived late. Hiding in the shadows above, Lu Li was immediately stunned. Those two butlers? Then did that mean Ah Fei and the others had already? As if reading his thoughts, one of the butlers sneered. That's right. Your three teammates were dealt with easily. Lu Li's anger instantly erupted, and he jumped down at once. You're dead. At the same time, energy began gathering in both of the king's hands as he said coldly, We'll see who dies. In the next second, the two butlers transformed into a sword and a staff, and the king's aura exploded upward. His combat power had to be at least 10,000. Meanwhile, in the real world, the Brawler Girl and Little Chili were forcibly kicked offline because their characters had died. They took off their headsets, completely speechless. Wasn't this supposed to be the reward phase? How did it suddenly turn into a boss fight? Did we trigger a hidden quest or something? But what worried the Brawler Girl more was Lu Li's safety. After all, the attack intensity of those two butlers had clearly reached the level of a 100-man dungeon raid. Then she stretched lazily and asked Little Chili how long it would take before they could revive. Looking at the timer, Little Chili replied, 30 minutes. The two of them then ordered coffee and prepared to stay up all night to go back and rescue Lu Li. At the same time, in the real world on the other side of the city, dark clouds were rolling in and lightning was flashing non-stop. Fei stood alone on the balcony, staring at the sky. Looks like it's about to pour. I wonder how second brother Lu is doing. In the end, I still couldn't help it all. Then he turned and walked back into the game room, put on his gear, and got ready to log in the second his respawn timer ended. Meanwhile, inside the game, the moment Lu Li landed, he had already swung his sword viciously at the king. But even when Lu Li closed the distance and attacked right in front of him, the king's expression did not change at all. He did not even blink while watching the strike come in. Then he dealt with the attack effortlessly, blocking everything with ease. Lu Li's offense was having almost no effect. Right then, Lu Li used backstab and instantly flashed behind the king. He immediately followed with Rending Burst Blade, launching a continuous string of attacks. Only then did he finally manage to leave a small mark on the king's back, but the king only sneered. That's it? Then he flicked his left hand and directly used Blade Storm. Lu Li froze for a split second, because he could clearly feel how terrifying that sword energy was. But strangely enough, he himself was not hurt. Instead, the wall behind him split open instantly. The king casually waved his sword and said, That strike missed you because I don't want to damage my future vessel. Now that you've seen the gap between us, you should just surrender. Lu Li understood perfectly well that he and the king were not on the same level, but there was no way he was going to give up. In the next second, he moved again, creating a fake clone first to draw the king's attention. Meanwhile, his real body hid itself and leaped high into the air. Lu Li used the opening to pull out a healing potion and drink it. He could not fight head-on now. The only option was to keep moving, stall for time, and wait for his teammates to revive and provide backup. The king clearly saw through his plan and sneered. Want to play cat and mouse with me? Too bad. I'm not the cat. I'm the tiger. Then the staff in his right hand lit up with a blinding red glow. Gravity control. In the next instant, the gravity of the entire space surged. Lu Li's body became unbearably heavy and dropped uncontrollably. The king had already locked onto him. Found you. While falling, Lu Li immediately used a shadow clone, but the king casually swung his sword and blocked all of them with ease. No matter how fast or fierce Lu Li's attacks were, The king stopped every single one. The king even had time to comment, "That shadow clone skill of yours is actually pretty interesting. Once I get your body, I'll have to try it for myself." Then red energy began gathering rapidly along the king's blade, and in that exact instant, Lu Li caught a tiny opening and thrust his sword straight at the king's face. But unexpectedly, the king didn't swing his weapons to block. Instead, he simply reached out and caught the bare blade with his free hand. The king smiled at him. "You're not just fighting me. You're taking on 3 opponents by yourself." The moment he said that, the 2 butlers turned weapons on either side, simultaneously activated gravity control and blade storm. In an instant, Lu Li was crushed straight down by that immense force and plunged into the water pool below the palace. Even underwater, Lu Li could not help feeling speechless. Those 2 butlers had turned into weapons, yet they still kept their own awareness to cast skills. Looks like he really could not hold back anymore. At that moment, the king and the 2 weapons above the water were slightly confused. Had they really crushed Lu Li at the bottom of the pool that easily, with just a little force? But right then, a vortex suddenly formed on the water's surface below. In the next instant, a shadow shot out from inside it and struck the king directly in the face, leaving a bloody cut behind. The king touched his cheek, but instead of getting angry, he smiled. "Interesting. You keep giving me more and more to look forward to." By then, Lu Li had already changed into another form, and a tail had grown behind him. Using the earrings, Lu Li had transformed into Phantom God, Merman Lord, taking advantage of the water pool below to finally deal a bit of damage to the king. The 2 butlers, currently in weapon form, immediately flew into a rage, guiding the sword and staff to slash at him with the king's hands. Lu Li quickly dove back underwater and nimbly avoided the attack. For a moment, the weapons in the king's hands had no way to exert their strength properly, and the frustrated voice of a butler rang out from them. "Get out here if you've got the guts." Lu Li generously accepted the suggestion and started moving at high speed right across the water's surface in front of them. The next second, he suddenly burst from the water and flashed behind the king, ready to land a vicious hit. But before the blow could connect, the greatsword with its own awareness swung back autonomously and blasted him away with a single strike. While falling through the air, Lu Li shifted again into a boarman form, activating self-healing while forcibly boosting his strength by 20%. Then, still in midair, he used Rending Burst Blade, but the staff in the king's other hand automatically blocked it too, and the attack only managed to leave a slight scratch on its surface. The consciousness of the 2 butlers inside the weapons immediately grew even angrier, driving the king's body to counterattack Lu Li together. Lu Li was injured as well after the heavy clashes, but at least the boarman's self-healing was still keeping him going. The king, however, stopped his assault and clapped slowly in satisfaction. "Good. Very good. Zhan Yu, you've given me so many surprises. I can't wait to claim this body of yours anymore. I understand now. You must be heaven's perfect reward to me. Show me all your remaining trump cards so I can get a good look." Lu Li understood the situation clearly as well. A normal Rending Burst Blade could not seriously hurt him. That meant he had to use that move instead. A gigantic golden dragon head began forming slowly above him. Hidden dragon beneath the abyss. But the king showed no fear at all. If anything, he looked excited. That skill looked impressive in the video recordings. Let's see what its real power's like. Lu Li did not waste any words. He directly sent the roaring dragon head crashing toward the king. The king answered with Blade Storm. One line, asking heaven, casually slicing the phantom dragon apart. He chuckled. The move looks flashy enough, but the power is only average. But in the very next second, another solid-looking dragon suddenly rushed him from the side. With no way to dodge, the strike slammed the king straight backward, crashing him heavily into the palace wall. It turned out the frontal attack was just Lu Li using a clone as bait to draw the king's defensive focus. Lu Li was breathing hard as he stared at the distant rubble. That had to do something, right? But when the dust cleared, the king appeared again completely unharmed. There had been an invisible protective barrier around him the entire time. Even so, the massive shockwave still caused him to spit out a mouthful of blood. He wiped his mouth. That attack really did have power. But your combat IQ surprised me even more than the move itself. Then he slowly stepped down from the crater in the wall, his voice turning completely cold. Game time is over. Raising his staff high, he used Telekinetic Storm, elemental control. In the next instant, the water in the pool beneath Lu Li began attacking him instead, rapidly forming into a massive, high-pressure sphere that trapped Lu Li suspended in midair. Lu Li immediately shifted back into his Phantom God, Merman Lord form, trying to breathe and break free from the water. But right after that, 5 giant stone pillars carved with runes suddenly rose around the sphere, forming a ceiling array that locked him dead in the center. No matter how hard he struggled, he could not break free in the slightest. At that moment, the king looked at the trapped Lu Li and smiled. "Warrior Zhan Yu, submit to your baptism obediently." But what he said next made Lu Li's expression change instantly. "Should I call you Warrior Zhan Yu? or players on you. Lu Li stared at him in disbelief. You just called me a player? The king answered calmly. That's right. You didn't expect me to have that kind of awareness, did you? That's because heaven let me see the true face of this world. When I learned that we were nothing more than tools created for your amusement, I first thought it was some kind of cruel joke from above. But the more I reflected on it, the more I realized that my memories had no true beginning or end. Every day was simply repeating itself. From that moment on, I decided I would overturn fate itself and drive all of you so-called players out. Lu Li had never imagined that a mere NPC inside a game could develop independent thought. But then, who exactly was that so-called heaven? The king slowly stepped forward. What I'm curious about now is this. Once I take your body, where exactly will your soul end up? Lu Li cut him off. I have one last question. Do you know someone named Han Yixiao? The king paused slightly. That name does sound a little familiar, but don't think you can stall for time. If you want him, go find him in hell. But in the very next second, the Lu Li trapped in the array suddenly used Shadow Shift, swapping places with a clone he had prepared beforehand. His real body vanished, escaping the seal and hiding high up in the palace. The problem was that Shadow Shift had a full 30-minute cooldown, so during that time, he absolutely could not afford to get caught again. So Lu Li transformed into a lizard ninja form specialized for climbing and began scrambling higher up the palace's inner walls, trying to widen the distance. Seeing that, the king instantly flew into a rage. That move again? Looks like you won't behave unless I break your arms and legs first. He slammed his staff against the ground and gave a sharp command. Rise! In the next instant, a massive sphere of water rose from the pool below, and when it reached midair, it exploded into a gigantic circular wall of ice that completely blocked Lu Li's upward escape route. But it did not end there. Countless jagged chunks of ice began crashing down from above, forcing Lu Li to dodge non-stop while clinging to the wall. Yet the freezing cold was already seeping into his body, making him slower and stiffer with every moment. In the end, he was struck by a massive block of ice and fell helplessly toward the frozen surface below. The king laughed loudly. I told you already. There's no escaping the palm of my hand. The moment Lu Li hit the ice, countless tiny ice spikes burst from the surface and pinned him down completely. The next moment, he was dragged straight in front of the king across the ice. The king looked down at him. Go on, try escaping one more time. At that point, Lu Li truly no longer had any escape skills left, and the king had no intention of dragging things out any longer. He prepared to begin the possession right away, but just then, a single drop of water landed on the tip of his nose. In the next second, with a sharp crack, a large hole suddenly broke open in the thick layer of ice above. Right after that, several familiar figures dropped down from overhead. The king instantly flashed backward and looked up. It was Ah Fei and the others, having revived and logged back in to save him. Second brother Lu, we're here. When the two butlers turned weapons realized who had come, they were so shocked they could barely believe their own senses. They had clearly killed these people with their own hands just earlier. The king roared angrily. That is exactly what makes them so unnatural. Once my possession succeeds, these monsters will be completely expelled. At that moment, Lu Li immediately warned Ah Fei and the others to watch out for the face on the king's chest. That possession skill probably doesn't just damage in-game bodies. It might directly affect us in the real world. Ah Fei clenched his teeth. Forget that for now. Second brother Lu, let's get you out of those chains first. At the same time, the two butlers returned from their weapon states back to their original forms. Their expressions turned ugly. You dared make us lose face in front of His Majesty. You're all getting crushed to dust. Ah Fei and Little Chili attacked first together, launching Meteor Fire Fist, but one of the butlers casually raised a gravity barrier and neutralized the blow with ease. Is that all you've got? Seeing their attack fail, Ah Fei and Little Chili exchanged a quick, knowing glance. In the next instant, they unleashed a combo move together. Dance of the Fire Tornadoes. Two huge fire tornadoes erupted at once and melted the giant chunks of ice around them. The thick steam that followed severely blinded the two butlers' vision. At the same time, the brawler girl was already locked in fierce combat with the sword-wielding butler. She suddenly blasted him away with Mountain Shaker art. The sword butler flew into a rage. You think you can suppress me? Blade Store. But with experience from their earlier clash, the brawler girl gave him no room at all and forcefully interrupted his casting with six-fold Mountain Shaker. The sword butler was knocked back in shock. Why is this woman this strong? In the very next second, the king caught the butler with one hand and barked, "Shut up, you trash!" Then a powerful aura burst out from the king. Why are all these nobodies trying to join the fun? As he spoke, he fired a massive blade storm straight at the brawler girl. Just freeing himself from the restraints, Lu Li immediately shouted, "Watch out! That move again!" But right at that critical moment, a familiar voice rang out from above. Dawn Guild is here to back you up. In the next second, Dawn Guild's leader dropped like a meteor and activated his strongest shield skill right in front of the brawler girl. He actually managed to reflect the king's devastating attack right back at him. Caught off guard, blood instantly sprayed from the king's body, and his footing violently shook. Luli frowned, looking up. Why are they here? Ah Fei grinned proudly from a distance. Because I went and got reinforcements while I was waiting to respawn. Dawn Guild's leader turned back toward Luli and said, just so we're clear, when we take this boss down, the drops are split 50-50. Mad Wolf, already burning with battle hunger, didn't wait another second and rushed in with his greatsword. The leader immediately drew his weapon and issued tactical orders. Fifth supports, third handles ranged crowd control. Second brother, you and fourth brother push in with me. By then, Mad Wolf, leading the charge, brought his greatsword down hard on the king's face. But that heavy strike was blocked easily by the king with a single hand. In the next moment, the king answered with a backhand sword strike, knocking Mad Wolf flying backward. However, in the brief opening created by the king's swing, Thunderblade followed up like a ghost, and the two of them instantly formed a deadly pincer attack on the king from both sides. The king snorted coldly and responded with gravity shock, blasting both of them away with a violent wave of gravitational force. But just as the king prepared to press the attack, a crowd control skill that third brother had been charging from afar suddenly came flying in, landing a perfect hit that instantly knocked the weapon right out of the king's hand. The moment the king's weapon was knocked away, fifth brother seized the opening and used tough wooden vines to firmly lock down the king's arms and legs. Mad Wolf and Thunderblade followed up immediately from both sides, unleashing their finishing moves Wolf Strike and Thunderstorm at the same time. Facing this fatal pincer, the king didn't panic at all. Instead, a strange smile crept across his face. The two ultimate attacks landed solidly on the king's waist. But in the next second, a violent tornado made of chaotic energies erupted from within the king's body, forcefully suppressing the attacks. Thunderblade instantly sensed extreme danger. She suddenly roared, "Fourth brother, pull back now!" But it was already too late. The king shot out both hands and grabbed them firmly by their wrists. With just a slight squeeze of his hands, the sound of cracking bone echoed out as both of their wrists were crushed. Then the king hurled them away like iron discs, smashing them brutally into the distant wall. From afar, third brother quickly knocked another arrow and fired an incredibly stealthy shadowless arrow. But just as the arrow was about to strike the king in the face, the king casually reached up and caught it in his hand. Then he reversed its direction and threw it viciously back. The arrow detonated right in front of third brother in a flash. When the smoke cleared, third brother was already pinned firmly to the wall by his own arrow. Right after that, the king threw a heavy punch straight into a seemingly empty patch of space. The terrifying force of that punch forced fifth brother's high-tier hidden summoned beast to reveal itself, instantly shattering it to pieces. By then, fifth brother was completely panicking, stumbling backward. "Don't come over here!" Just as the king was about to deliver the killing blow, Dawn Guild's leader flashed in with his shield, stepping in front of fifth brother and blocking the king's brutal punch head-on. The king snorted coldly and immediately unleashed a storm of punches. "Let's see how long that broken shield of yours can hold out." But the constantly defending leader suddenly spoke in a low voice. "My shield is for protecting my teammates, but I'm not just a shield." In the next instant, blinding red light erupted from the unshielded side of his body, and his whole aura surged upward. Then he swung the heavy weapon in his other hand and brought it crashing down on the king's head. The two collided head-on with full force, and the terrifying shockwave shattered the entire floor of the treasury. Lu Li and the others, having just revived and arrived, instantly rushed in to help the wounded. Little Chili told third brother to hold still and pulled the arrow out of him with force. Ah Fei, meanwhile, held out a health potion to the heavily injured Mad Wolf. "Open up. Time for your medicine, buddy." In the center of the battlefield, Dawn Guild's leader seized an opening and blasted the king backward with a fierce cross-shaped palm strike. Lurking in the shadows, Lu Li instantly caught the opening. He used backstab and flashed directly behind the airborne king. He slashed cleanly twice in quick succession, hitting the exact same wound from before. Blood burst from the king's back, but the injured king showed no panic at all. He steadied himself in midair and said coldly, "Zhan Yu, my patience with you has run out." Just then, everyone who had recovered their strength unleashed their ultimate skills at once, bombarding the king with a sky full of attacks. But at the moment of certain death, the two weapons that had been knocked away earlier suddenly flew back in front of the king, instantly transforming back into the human forms of the two butlers. Then they detonated all their power, and the entire castle erupted with blinding energy. In the next second, a terrifying explosion rang out, shaking the heavens and the earth. Even the clueless citizens out in the city were left staring in shock at the apocalyptic sight. Inside the castle, everyone let out a long breath, thinking that so many ultimates stacked together had to be enough to finally finish the king off. But when the smoke cleared, the king appeared almost entirely unharmed. Aside from a slightly blackened face, The two butlers had desperately absorbed every bit of that world-ending damage for him. What shocked everyone even more was what happened next. With cold eyes, the king thrust both his hands straight through the backs of the two heavily injured butlers, absorbing their remaining energy. "Your mission is over. Leave the rest to me." Stunned by the sheer ruthlessness of a man killing his own servants, the group broke out in a cold sweat. They immediately raised their weapons and rushed in again, ready to deal a fatal round of attacks before the king could fully recover. But at that moment, two red and blue orbs suddenly appeared in the king's hands. "Zhan Yu, even if I don't use your body as my vessel, I'll still make all of you pay." Then he slammed both fists into the ground, and the force of his aura sent towering waves of water surging up. The entire treasure vault was instantly swallowed by a terrifying force field. Right after that, the ground across the whole city began splitting apart. Countless civilians fell into the massive cracks opening beneath them. Meanwhile, the host from earlier stood in the distance, staring blankly at the scene. What the hell is going on? The whole spatial castle is getting destroyed. Inside the castle, the only one still left standing was the king. Everyone else had already been knocked to the ground, and the king slowly walked toward Lu Li. "Even after all that, you're still alive? You really are the path heaven pointed out for me." But right then, Lu Li's random achievement codex suddenly let out a sharp ding. Random achievement